idea if the starting music is playing because OBS says it is, but I don't hear anything anymore. OBS is acting kind of fucky today. Shocking. OBS not working. Wow. Yeah, let's go to the just chatting. I don't know if maybe that music's just broken or what. What's up, Pigeon? How's it going? Thanks, I got it commissioned. They did a really good job on it. Very impressed with their work. I'm gonna be a little bit lower energy today. Dr. Pepper. But Dr. Pepper zero sugar. Because I've been trying to be better. Is it going well? Not really. Does zero sugar have no caffeine? If it has caffeine, then I need to stop because my heart rate's been kind of fucked today. Isn't it supposed to say if it's caffeinated? Here, let me Google. I'm like looking at the can. Does zero sugar Dr. Pepper have caffeine? Contains caffeine. Oh. Well, shit. Well, I guess I get to go put this back in the fridge. I was very excited to drink it too. I'm upset. But, my heart's been like, my heart's been a little fucky today, and it's been like over 100 beats per second, or minute. Over 100 beats per minute, like all day long. Oh, there goes the thing I was excited about. Well, there's two things. I was thinking about, bro, it's been bad all day. Like, I think it's finally dropped below 100, but legit, since like 6 a.m. my heart rate has been like chilling over 100. It got up to like 130 at one point, and I honestly thought I was gonna have a heart attack at one point, which is honestly scary because women have heart attacks different than men. Men are like, oh, I can't feel my right arm and my chest hurts, and then women just fucking fall over dead with no symptoms. It's crazy. But we do have a new Mujin video that literally dropped like an hour ago. And it's about Iron Mouse and Vshojo, and it's 2 hours long. So, new subscriber, hello Junko and Enoshima, hello. But I mean, I've watched a billion videos over the whole Vshojo thing, but like, if Mujin drops a video, I gotta watch it. I was gonna take the day off, and then I was like, well, I guess I gotta watch this. Because if I don't watch it on stream, I'm gonna watch it in my free time, and then we won't have reactions. Which, I mean, I don't want to be like only a react channel. I need to start making more content. Other than just my gaming streams. Okay, I am gonna go get some water since I'm not allowed to have soda. I will be right back. There we go. I got water. Are we ready? Here, let me pop over to my other screen. We'll full screen that. Oh my goodness. I'm definitely gonna be low energy, so I apologize for that. But I don't want to be too crazy, you know? Yeah. Should we just hop right into the video? Which one do I have this on? Okay, it's that one. I'm gonna make sure that it's not too quiet. Okay, right here. Alright, let's start the new Mujin video. How the top oh my god, I can't even talk. Oh my god. How the top VTuber agency got exposed as a dystopian nightmare. The rise and fall of Vshojo. That's okay, Pigeon. If you gotta skedaddle, you skedaddle. I'll see you later. Have fun!
Iron Mouse, one of the biggest on July 21st, 2025. Iron Mouse, one of the biggest VTubers on the planet, would suddenly and without prior warning post this video titled "Why I Left Vshojo," one of the most iconic and recognizable agencies in the industry that she's been with since 2020, so almost 5 years now. It would be in this video that she reveals to the world for the first time ever.
Bit loud, thank you, Pigeon.
That Vshojo had stolen over $500,000 from her that were meant to go to a charity. Something that even a comic...
That's such a... Sorry, my sister just texted me. That is a crazy amount of money. Like, I'm still pissed about that. That's insane. I warned my sisters about my heart rate problem stuff, so just so they have like an idea. What is it at now, actually? Probably should just check it again for shits and giggles. Okay. It's down to 90. That's better. Okay. Alright. Now, let's mute my phone so I'm not obnoxious. And let's
look
keep watching.
supervillain wouldn't think of doing. But it only got worse from here. Soon enough, you'd have previous and current talents of Vshojo, as well as some other very prominent VTubers in the industry, reveal to us how Vshojo was behind the scenes, how they were mistreated, and how this once iconic company was...
I'm too big. I'm too big. Shrinky-dinky. There we go.
It's nothing more than a facade, hiding behind it an extremely toxic and disastrous management that was leading it. But some of these crazy revelations, these bombshells that these VTuber talents were telling us, occurred years ago, making us revisit past controversies and incidents that this company was in and see it from a completely different perspective now with this new added context. This is why, in order to truly understand the depth of this catastrophe, I had no choice but to go back to the absolute beginning, even before Vshojo was founded, even talking about the origins of its CEO,
the gun run.
And this 2-hour video is the result of that. We're going to be going through all the major lows and highs of Vshojo, all the way to its very violent and sudden
The girls
death.
and the guy.
I say this with no exaggeration. This is the biggest VTuber-related controversy in history. And it's not even close. So, without further ado, let's talk about it. The dot-com crash was a catastrophic financial incident that took place in the US around the year 2000.
Hold on, we're starting with the dot-com crash? Also, I want to be zoomed in to here. Okay. Maybe not quite that much. Alright. I'm just being a little picky, don't mind me. The dot-com crash? Why are we going to the dot-com crash?
You see, the World Wide Web had been introduced in the early 1990s, and early adopters would quickly understand that this was going to change life as we know it. So all of a sudden, the word internet held a lot of weight. I mean, this was going to change the world. So obviously, if a company was going to operate on that internet, then it was going to be a part of this new world order that stands to be very profitable. This is when investors would decide to throw stacks of cash at any company claiming to operate on the internet. There was truly no need to dive into any specifics about how they were operating, their costs, and how they planned to make money. Just the fact that they were on the internet meant that they were going to be successful because this was going to change the world. Soon enough, the word internet would lose all meaning, becoming a buzzword like AI is in 2025. If a company claims to have AI in their product, then their stock skyrockets in a day. It's ridiculous. And so, after years of euphoria and investing in anything internet-related, investors would realize at the end of 2000 that many of these businesses weren't even generating any revenue. They literally had no way to make money. So everyone started panic selling at the same time, causing the bubble to literally burst. The majority of these companies went extinct and very few survived. This would actually be quite similar to what happened with live streaming websites, although on an extremely smaller scale and not affecting any global financial institutions. I mean, have you ever heard of the website BattleCam? No? Well, that's normal, but don't bother Googling it because it doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
That looks so early 2000s, though. Oh my god. That is so early 2000s. Wait, it doesn't even have a Wikipedia page?
But at the time when it was founded in the early 2000s, it had a proper community and a sizable amount of streamers, competing against each other in challenges in order to win cash prizes. And while the majority of things related to this website were lost to history, one of the only things we still have left is a clip of Keemstar crying when he was shown a picture of how bad his balding had become. And speaking of Keemstar, in this now very infamous clip, he would start off his rant saying, "This, I'm on Block TV with my hands up," referring to yet another streaming website that was lost to history. In the early 2000s, there were so many of these. But unfortunately, 99% of these websites would cease to exist, and many would be lost to history, except one in particular, Justin.tv. It was founded in the year 2007 and was named after its founder, Justin Khan. But initially, you couldn't even stream on the website. Only Justin could. Its entire purpose was centered around Justin and him live streaming his entire life.
That's funny.
Life casting. Today, we call it IRL streaming. And when I say that he would stream everything, I mean it. I mean, this is him sleeping right here. And during this interview, he's literally live with his apparatus that he made himself. Eventually, this trend of live casting would catch on, and Justin TV would allow anyone to create an account and broadcast themselves live to, well, a group of strangers. And as the platform continued to grow beyond anyone's expectations, in 2011, it would come up with a decision that would change everything forever. the creation of Twitch.tv, a separate website from Justin.tv that was not only centered on just live streaming, but more specifically centered on live streaming video games. But early on,
I don't know if I ever really experienced the early Twitch. I don't know if I even knew that it existed till maybe my adult life, actually. Or at least the end of high school.
Twitch.tv had been created. The best way I could describe how the website functioned was more like a Discord server, in the sense that everyone kind of knew each other. Everyone knew who the most prominent streamers were, but more importantly, Twitch staff was very approachable. They'd always be in someone's chat, making the streamers feel like they were really part of a community. And at the time, what really differentiated Twitch from other websites was their global emotes. You could use these in any streamer's chat and you wouldn't have to pay a single thing. But what was really interesting here is that many of the early emotes were inside jokes that only people on the website would understand. One form of these inside jokes was creating emotes out of Twitch staff in funny pictures, like this one right here by the name of Anele. This was one of the earliest employees at Twitch. And another emote that you'd find that was based on a staff member as well was the gun run emote. What made this emote special is that whenever you saw a streamer encounter some sort of technical difficulty, the chat would start spamming it as a way to summon Gun Run himself, the staff member that the emote was based on. He was seen as a
Twitch
genius
staff member
who understood live streaming like no one else. In fact, when Business Insider went to Twitch to visit their office and create an article on the people who work there, the first image you're greeted with when you click on the article is Gun Run himself, sitting on his desk, smiling.
What's funny is this motherfucker fucking ran from... This gun run from responsibility. He ran from responsibility, homies.
This is how Business Insider would describe him, saying, Justin the Gun Run Ignacio went from esports fanboy to streaming guru by the time he was 21. Twitch hired him out of college to help run thousands of simultaneous video streams and orchestrate the tech for its signature tournaments. In 2013, Forbes named Ignacio in its 30 under 30 games list. So yeah, no big deal. This guy was just kind of a genius. He'd be single-handedly helping Twitch run these massive streams of hundreds of thousands of viewers watching tournaments from Dota 2 and League of Legends, for example. And additionally, he was in the Forbes 30 under 30 list for 2014, which is a list made up of 30 people who are under the age of 30 that have been a huge influence in their respective industry. Not bad for a 21-year-old. But if that wasn't enough, he was also taking Justin Khan's vision to the next level, creating a backpack filled to the brim with technology that could withstand streaming IRL at high resolution with no interruptions. He called it the Gun Run IRL Backpack. Overall, as time would go by, Twitch and its staff would get a lot of attention. Forbes would be calling it the ESPN of video games. It seemed unstoppable. So much so that even Amazon...
Wait, I heard that early Twitch it was focused like solely on like gaming, right? Or was it focused solely on just chatting? It was one of those. I could be totally wrong though.
Took notice and eventually bought the website for $970 million on August 26, 2014, making its founders very rich, but also ending its tight-knit culture centered around staff and streamers, transforming it into a very corporatized company. After this buyout, Gunrun would keep working at Twitch for the next few years. He would also keep developing his Gunrun IRL backpack and would create the company Unlimited IRL that sells these backpacks straight up to streamers who want to stream IRL with high quality and no interruptions. And while I'm sure his life was going good and he was achieving things that he found fulfilling, there would come a time where his life, and pretty much almost every human's life, would change forever, making many of us divert to places that we never thought.
They have to have a backpack. Other people can just use a cell phone. We are not the same.
We'd end up in, and that would be none other than the COVID 2020 pandemic. During the pandemic, many people were isolated and couldn't do much outside. This meant that for many, in order to stay sane to some degree, they had to keep themselves entertained, and the only way to do that was through the internet. This completely skewed the numbers on so many things, Genshin Impact being an example. Launching at the end of 2020 and getting so many players that it had made over $1 billion in under 6 months. But
Still
video
haven't
games
even
wouldn't be
touched
the
Genshin.
only thing that would go up in numbers substantially. Entertainment of all kinds would skyrocket, including streaming. This also included a fairly new genre of streaming, which was VTubing. You see, the pioneer of VTubing was none other than Kizuna Ai. starting her activities at the end of 2016. Unlike Hatsune Miku, which is a virtual being run by a team of people and a corporation, Kizuna Ai was actually a person, except that person was using a virtual avatar to express themselves. And even though she was a streamer, much of her brand was centered around the Japanese idol template. She wasn't just a streamer,
Yeah.
she could sing and she could perform. She behaved like an idol, and the expectations of an idol were laid upon her shoulders. But for years to come after 2016, VTubing would really remain a very Japanese-centric
Was it, like, I could be wrong, but I think that VTuber, that first one, I think there was multiple people that played them. Because it was basically set up like an idol.
entertainment. This would change in 2020 when many content creators and, well, many people in general would start using VR chat in order to combat isolation. Seeing so many people express themselves through avatars would make the idea of a VTuber way less weird than it used to be. This would contribute to how VTubing would start to all of a sudden blow up beyond proportion. But of course, the ones that would benefit the most and the quickest would be the two biggest VTuber corporations on the planet, both based in Japan and already possessing a big established talent roster.
That is so many fucking people, holy shit. And I've only heard of like 3 of them. Oh wait, that's Fauna. Okay, let's see who else. I've seen them, I don't know their name. She looks familiar. I don't know the name. That's the Gargura, right? Yeah. Okay, let's see if I can recognize anyone else. This looks familiar, don't know the name. Oh, this is the rabbit girl. I don't know the name. Oh my god, I don't fucking know VTubers.
They would go by the names of Hololive and Niji Sanji. They were absolutely
wait, I want to see if I can know
and
any of these. These models look a lot less dynamic. Oh, that's interesting though. That actually sticks out. I don't recognize a single motherfucker on this. I don't recognize a single person. I think Doki Bird was a part of Niji Sanji though. And then the whole controversy. I think was it Niji Sanji? Yeah, it was Niji Sanji. That's the shitty company.
Niji Sanji. They were absolutely dominating streaming in ways that people could have never imagined. And to give you an idea of just how much VTubing had blown up, when Niji Sanji first went public on the Japanese stock market, it was valued at $1.1 billion. Yes, a VTuber agency valued at $1.1
fucking Christ, that's a lot of money.
These are not rookie numbers by any means. VTubing was very hard to ignore at that point. So much so that even popular streamers that would have never delved into this before saw the potential and tried to do some VTubing themselves, trying to snatch a piece of that pie. Look, it was safe to say that by that point, there was global demand for VTubers. It wasn't centered on Japan anymore. And while that was really exciting, it also
because people like anime girls.
Ever since Kizuna Ai, VTubers were seen like idols. So these Japanese idol expectations came with being a VTuber when you worked for these two corporations. This meant that they owned everything, even your model. If you were to graduate, which is a Japanese idol way to say retire, then you wouldn't get to keep your model. You would lose your entire identity because it belongs to the corporation. Additionally, it was cool to see these corporations expand to English-speaking talent. But even though this industry was blowing up, there was no real agency in the West. Gunrun would see this as clear as day, which is why on November 24th, 2020, he would announce the creation of the talent agency Vshojo, a San Francisco-based VTuber talent agency with its main goal being centered around talent freedom, allowing any talent that chooses to leave the company in the future to retain their full IP and model, as well as their brand in general. He would co-found this company with
Freedom with 5,000 NDAs. Yay!
Mountain Dew, who was a content creator and would hold the post of Chief Marketing Officer at Vshojo, and Daniel Sanders, which would be their third and final co-founder. He would hold the position of Chief Operating Officer and would sometimes act as the Chief Financial Officer. Now, what really made Vshojo special was the fact that their founding members were already very well established in the VTubing community as independent VTubers. This was completely different from corporations like Niji Sanji and Hololive. with every talent starting from scratch with a new identity.
Okay, I'm gonna say something that is kind of sad. I kept hearing people talk about Neanders, and I thought everyone was talking about Cneanders, and I'm like, what the fuck do they have to do with VTubing? What are you talking about? What? Apparently there is a VTuber named Neanders. Neanders, or however you pronounce it. I've heard of some of these though. Cause Zentreya is the one that used the TTS. Of course I know Iron Mouse. And Apricot, I think they're also called Fruit. I've listened to a couple of their covers.
Carrying over their identity into Vshojo and having their already substantial communities follow them. The founding members were Nyaners, Zentreya, Iron Mouse, Silverveil, Project Melody, Apricot Fruit, and Himehajime. A few months later, they would also add Vebe to their roster, another independent VTuber with a substantial community. This wasn't just another VTuber agency. This was one that had the potential to not only revolutionize the VTubing industry as we knew it, but to also compete head-to-head with the big two, which were Hololive and Nijisanji, without being a Japanese corporation. And I mean, why wouldn't they? They had the genius Forbes 30 Under 30 CEO, and they had top-tier talent, some of the best in the industry.
What could go wrong?
It normally should have been smooth sailing from here. But unfortunately, barely a year after being established, Vshojo would face a monumental controversy that would significantly stain its reputation in the VTubing industry. Nuxtaku is a content creator turned VTuber.
Right! Oh my god! Oh my god, poor fucking Nux. I mean, like, Nux is very, like, I wouldn't say sus, but he's an acquired taste to watch. But he tried to literally warn people of a scam, and Vshojo just shout on him. Like, Jesus Christ!
Benefited from the VTuber boom of the pandemic. He was one of the first independent VTubers to ever reach 2 million subscribers on YouTube, and his most successful content would be centered on collaborations, anime critiques, and of course, Mr. Beast style content in which he would donate to people on Twitch in order to get them to do challenges. His rise to fame was very quick. He practically knew everyone in the VTuber industry, and he had a very mutually beneficial relationship with Vshojo talents, collaborating with them on many occasions, and by that point be making content with them quite regularly. However, on October 20th, 2021, to everyone's surprise, he would tweet this out, saying, "Someone is trying to dox VTubers by masquerading as Vshojo. I can't say more at this time, but please share this around and be careful. They tried to dox me, but I sniffed them out and gave them wrong info, so don't worry about me. I spoke to the CEO of Vshojo and I'm trying to untangle everything. I'll update you when I can." You see, Vshojo's domain was vshojo.com. That's what they used for their emails. But there was someone impersonating Vshojo staff sending emails to VTubers under the vshojo.org domain, hoping to gain their trust and doxing them, uncovering their real names, addresses, and eventually swatting them. Now, Nux was already quite popular. He would have many people try to dox him. He already knew what to do. Unfortunately, though, that doesn't apply to everyone. A smaller VTuber by the name of Saki Nightshade would tweet this out around the same time, saying, "Today may have been the most exciting day I've had in a couple of years. Holy fuck, my emotions are off the charts right now. What a day. Unfortunately, I don't think I can elaborate, which makes me extremely sad." She then goes on to say, "Alright, so what I can say is that I've been contacted for something amazing, and if all goes well, it could be truly life-changing. If that doesn't answer questions, I'm so sorry, I'd like to not say anything else about it." So that person, posing as Vshojo staff under the vshojo.org domain, had sent an email to Saki saying, "We want to recruit you to Vshojo," raising her hopes up and demanding personal information, which she gave. The day after, she would tweet this out, saying, "Well, the group of people who've targeted Nyaners and leaked her info earlier have my info and sent the cops to my door earlier. They're threatening to do more. Other than the threats to leak my info, they aren't saying much else. I guess I should have figured it'd be too good to be true. Oh well, not much can be done." And we can see Nux in the replies saying, "DM."
That's so fucking sad. People are literally, or at least were, this was years ago, they were given false hope in order to get their personal information. Which is so fucked up. I don't know why people need, like, why do people even need to do this? What good does it serve? None. None. And doxing people is, like, actually illegal. You're committing a federal crime. Like, haha, funny, but also, you're committing a crime. If you get caught, you're going to jail. That's also a misuse of police resources, and the police aren't happy about that kind of stuff. It's honestly pathetic.
Me, please. So that was the situation. Very messy, very tricky, and very nasty. And Saki gave out a very important piece of information. The group of people targeting her were the same people who had doxed an important member of Vshojo, Nyaners, earlier, leaking some of her personal information, but at this point we didn't know just how much. 11 days later, Nux would tweet, "The last 10 days were the most insane of my life. No words could describe how appreciative I am of you and the friends I've made here. Can't wait until I show you everything. I'm changing the game, boy." Teasing something that was in the works. Over the next few weeks, he would keep teasing something that was about to release, and on November 22nd, almost a month after he had received that phishing email, he would tweet out, "Recently, there was a group of doxers that have been harassing VTubers and swatting them by impersonating Vshojo. We spent the last month tracking them down. Please share this video," with the video being titled, "I caught a swatter that doxed 12 VTubers, myself included." In it, he would talk about how the email scam worked, how Saki Nightshade was affected, and then would go on to give us information that we didn't know about, which is how 12 VTubers got done.
Wait. Why is there 666 likes and then 1 dislike? What? Why? What the hell?
Doxed when we only knew of 2.
That's
and
so
how
funny.
Nux had gained footage of the doxer in a call with a bunch of friends because one of those friends happened to be a Nux fan and was willing to backstab the doxer. And finally, he would specify that that doxer was facing jail time, and if anyone had the same idea of doxing VTubers, they would end up in handcuffs as well. Additionally, when the video was initially posted, Vshojo themselves, their official page, had replied saying, "Thank you, Nux, for working with us. We've added our own response to the events," specifying that during this, no information was breached from Vshojo, and that the fake domain was taken down. It was never going to be used for harmful things ever again. Overall, it seemed like Nux had taken the time to make a detailed video of the events, and that Vshojo as an agency not only approved of it, but was able to get through this thanks to this cooperation. So imagine the shock when all of a sudden, almost every single VTuber talent at Vshojo would speak out against the video and tell the world how disappointed they are in Nux for releasing it. This same sentiment would of course be echoed by their communities, and it had reached a point where Nux was forced to make a response.
Okay, but like, in what world, in what fucking world, would you go out of your way to help people and be the bad guy? That's my question.
Tweeting RE cybersecurity/doxing incident, read, linking a twit longer. And before we even get to the twit longer, on this post you can see Vshojo members stating publicly how disappointed they were with Nux and his actions. Iron Mouse would say that she was so disappointed and hurt that he was doing this when he full well knew what was truly going on. "We asked you to take it down. We told you we
What do you
feared
mean
for our
what was
safety and
truly
you didn't
going
care."
on?
Fruit would say, "Asking for you to take it down because I felt my safety was in trouble and for you to go to the company and ask for numerous terms and conditions in return, that's not friendship." Silverveil, Vey, Zentrea, Hime, and Melody would all echo the same statement, publicly announcing that not only were they disappointed with Nux, but that he was a liar, a clout chaser, and someone that didn't care about any of his friends at Vshojo. With Hime saying that the girls had begged for days for this video to be removed out of fear for their safety, and Project Melody saying,
What? I don't understand how the video would risk their safety. The video was literally, like, the goal was to protect people, from my understanding. Like, the entire goal was to make sure that no people would have their information doxed, and to catch the person that was doing it in the first place. So I don't understand the mindset behind this, and I wonder if they were forced to say this.
"He flagrantly disregarded our team's feelings and the facts our security department shared with him." But the biggest response was from Nyaners, who wrote a huge message in her Discord denouncing Nux's actions and expressing how disappointed she was with what he did, saying, "Didn't want to have to type out something stressful like this on what was supposed to be a chill Sunday and my only day off so far this week, but I do not condone the video that Nux has released where he postures himself as our savior and seemingly takes credit for pretty much an entire year's worth of painstaking work done by Vshojo's cybersecurity team. I would know that it took that long and took that much work since I was one of the people who unfortunately had to work with them, and I'm incredibly thankful for their help. Whether or not any of the information he gathered helped or not is beside the point, as releasing a video like he did about a very sensitive and potentially dangerous situation that involves as me and many of my friends, only draws unneeded attention to it for some quick views, when if a video were to be made about this at all, it should have been handled with a lot more care and consideration. But for someone like Nux, who has consistently used my friends for clickbait views and has done things like try to bait my friend into watching the Logan Paul Suicide Forest video on stream, and secretly recorded a private call with another one of my friends without permission and then proceeded to use said call to make a video, it's clear that our safety or feelings about any of this is not the priority. The past year was hell for me due to the situation, and it's straight up painful to see it being used in a video like this that doesn't treat the issue carefully at all. A video that he was even told not to release since it could potentially be harmful to us and many other VTubers who were targeted.
That's weird because Vshojo was like, thank you for your help. And now you're saying they were like, don't put the video. That's really fucking contradictory.
Draws even more attention to it, so I have to choose between sitting quietly and seeing him receive pats on the back for coming to our rescue when his video could encourage even more harassment, or calling him out and hoping he retracts what he said and takes the video down before it gains more traction. If he wanted to actually protect people, he could have made a general PSA video about how to keep your information safe online, or warn people about things like the fake Vshojo email situation in a way that didn't reveal a ton of unneeded sensitive information and paint himself as a hero. He doesn't care about helping us. If he did, he would have listened to several of our concerns when it came to how he treats people and uses them for content. This video ultimately makes things worse for us. Anything for views though, I guess. My heart goes out to anyone else who was affected by any harassment, and please be careful with giving out your information online. So obviously this was one hell of a statement. This wasn't just about Nux releasing a video that the talents at Vshojo didn't want released. It seems like they've had a problem with him for a long time with how he uses them for content. None of this had ever been talked about publicly, and it came as a shock. I mean, these people collabed all the time. It seemed like they were friends. Nux, on the other hand, would keep his statement shorter than Nyanner's, but would still manage to drop some pretty big bombshells, saying, "This has been a stressful week for many, and I'm confident and proud of the community and the efforts that went towards resolving things efficiently. My latest video concerned someone that was maliciously impersonating Vshojo, and managed to trick individuals into giving personal information and doxing themselves and getting swatted. With the efforts of everyone involved, I believe this situation can be put behind us, with the culprit behind these attacks having been brought to light. I do still fully stand by the need for raising awareness of phishing scams. I'm incredibly glad Vshojo released a very well constructed cybersecurity statement addressing the situation, and you should all read it. In regards to my video, I worked with Vshojo on this for a while, as they mentioned in their statement in response to my video. I did show them my video before posting it, and I was not requested to refrain from uploading. The rumors that I had posted it regardless of being asked not to are untrue. In fact, leading up to the events of posting it, I was a part of a 4-hour conversation with their chief cybersecurity officer, overseen by an executive of Vshojo and one of the members of the group. I sincerely apologize if my actions have caused any undue stress on anyone. It was not my intention. I was only hoping to contribute to keeping the community safe." With every statement someone would make during this incident, things would somehow make less sense. But regardless, for now, Nux did mention that Vshojo released a very well constructed cybersecurity statement addressing the situation. It was actually released just a few hours before this twitlonger, and it would be after they stealthily deleted their reply to his initial video tweet. But that's not all. This new cybersecurity statement had a completely different tone from that first reply. They would say things like, "Vshojo does not endorse any statements or views by parties that have no official affiliation to Vshojo," adding, "The methods used to attack the other VTubers were confirmed to be unrelated to phishing and impersonating Vshojo. As mentioned before, the fake domain was created on October 14th, 2021 and survived for less than a week, and the other VTubers incidents happened outside of this time window. As mentioned before, thanks to partners, Vshojo confirms there are only 2 victims of this campaign," referring to both Nux and Saki Nightshade. Things were getting very weird. It's like
So
they were completely discrediting the person they were congratulating when the video came out. But things only got weirder from here. After Vshojo had released their official cybersecurity statement, Nyanner's would have this to say in her Discord. Vshojo was forced into making a statement on the matter after asking him repeatedly not to release this video. They had to issue corrections to the video since he would not, and there were several inaccuracies within the video, and had to word the statement carefully to not anger his large following and make us a target for even more harassment. I feel especially backed into a corner, as I'm afraid to say anything even more publicly than I already am, because I know it would invite more hate. I'm exhausted of pissing people off and having them hurl threats and shit at me and my family members constantly, so saying anything about this is scary for me. It sucks and I don't know what to do. Nux chose to release the video knowing that Vshojo did not want him to and told him it was a horribly bad idea. Myself and my family members experienced heavy harassment pretty much all year, and the entire situation—
Like, okay, I understand your family members might have experienced heavy harassment, but you're saying something completely opposite of somebody else without proof. There's proof that they were supporting Nux on posting the video because they added that post afterwards. And then they retracted that statement. I have not seen anything other than word of mouth from the VTubers that they did not agree with him posting the video. I'm just pointing that out. I know this happened years ago, but that's very frustrating to see.
It had to be kept a secret, and I had to continue on as normal, acting happy even when I was terrified, so that I would not draw more attention to them and encourage them. Now he releases a video making everything public like this in a way that is careless and dangerous to many people. It's mind-boggling to me. It's like making a video about how to make a bomb and showing it to a bunch of 12-year-olds. I don't want anyone to go and harass him or threaten him in any way. Please do not do anything like that. I just wanted to be able to finally...
Okay, but whenever you say that they did a bad thing, but I don't want them to go to harass him, that makes people go harass him. That makes people more gung-ho to go and harass. Just pointing that out.
Say something, because cat's out of the bag.
Ah! Ah! No! No! What happened? What happened? Okay, we're 23:36. Hopefully the video didn't get taken down or something. Maybe it just broke for a second? Come on. What happened? Let's go back 5 seconds. What is happening? Let's see. An error occurred. I have good speed and I am signed in YouTube. I don't have ad blockers. I'm not using the YouTube app. The fuck you want from me, YouTube? Is my stream broken or is it just this video? I think it's just this video. Okay, let me exit YouTube. Reopen it, see. Okay. Is it just this video? Let's see if we can click something else. No, other stuff is playing. It's that video is broken. Oh my god. Okay, let me pop YouTube back up so you guys can kind of see it again. There we go. Okay. Can I do by latest? Sort by newest. Okay, somebody else got... Okay. Multiple people are having issues with the video crashing. Okay, well, let's refresh.
The bag anyway, and I'm also tired of sitting in...
It's working now! Okay. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good.
Watching him do fucked up things to my friends.
I bet there's I wouldn't be surprised if there's so many people watching it that it, like, broke it or something.
Confused as hell, and that's normal because everyone was at the time. How is it that the official Vshojo account had given its stamp of approval to Nux and thanked him for working with them when the talents were so clearly against the idea of a video? Something simply wasn't adding up at all.
Yeah.
Something was missing, a big
2
piece
plus
of the
2
puzzle,
is equaling
and no
5
one really
right
knew what
now.
the hell it was.
And
At
I
this
don't
point,
like it.
though, Nux as a target was fair game. According to every Vshojo talent, he had done something horrendous. So of course, just like with any cancellation, other people started piling up on him, talking about their bad experiences with him. And very few people actually took a step back and said, hey guys, listen, maybe we're going a bit too far here. Maybe we don't have all the facts. The situation was getting so critical that Nux had to release a formal apology. But in this apology video, he would show Discord logs between him and the cybersecurity expert that Vshojo had hired. Phoenix. He would reveal that these logs were in a group chat with one of the Vshojo girls and Gunrun, the CEO. In these logs, you could see that Nux was working on a video and Phoenix was fully aware of it. But instead of telling him, please don't post this, you're putting our talents in danger, he would be sent a draft of the video and he'd say this: not trying to downplay or anything, I really appreciate that you were providing info at 7:03. Do you think you'd be willing to blur out the word blank from the screenshot for the purposes of denying them notoriety? To which Nux said, okay, I can do that. Phoenix would then say, I appreciate that you are doing the public service announcement and that isn't the problem at all. My comment is narrowly specifically about praising that one fan that reached out. I am 99% certain that is a fellow member of the harassment gang and not a fan. So Phoenix's problem wasn't the video at all. He was completely down with the idea. He just thought that fan who had leaked the
so Nux has some
was
receipts
actually
and
part
no one
of
else
the harassment
does.
gang and Nux was being socially engineered. At some point, Nux would say, honestly, I think this video would be helpful to you as well. If you need help with anything, feel free to reach out. To which Phoenix would say, thanks a lot. Would you be willing to include a link to a written response by us as well? It's not going to be anything against the video. It's going to be more about making sure people don't think that contract language is real and answer some likely FAQs that will result from all this. To which Nux said, of course. And of course, as you can see, this was their reply that they had deleted shortly afterwards. This video added even more confusion to the whole situation, because from these logs, it seemed like two people were working together, and the CEO was very well aware of it, and one of the girls that had called Nux out publicly was in this group chat seeing everything, very well aware of the fact that he was going to post this video. And thanks to Fruit leaking her DMs with Nux at some point on Twitter, she would accidentally reveal who that Vshojo talent was, and it would turn out to be Project Melody. In these DMs, we can see Fruit and Nux arguing, and at some point Nux says, I'm not sure what you mean. I had a group chat with Melody, Gunrun, and their head cybersecurity guy, and I showed them the video beforehand. They had a few notes, which I changed before uploading, and they asked me to link a statement they would write in the description. But that's so weird. As you saw earlier, Melody had posted a tweet calling him out, saying, I'm hurt Nux posted his doxing vid. He flagrantly disregarded our team's feelings and the facts our security department shared with him. I trusted and defended him only to feel secondary to getting clicks. If he meant to raise awareness to protect streamers, he would have corrected it.
This
But
kind of
she,
stuff
as
makes
well
me
as Gunrun and
spicy.
Phoenix were in a call with Nux for 4 hours. This wasn't just confusion anymore. Someone was lying here. After these DMs would leak thanks to Fruit, Project Melody would delete her tweet because of the hate she would start getting. And shortly afterwards, apologies would start raining in. Fruit would say, Nux apologized to me privately yesterday as I apologized to him for subtweeting, and others would follow suit. Except one person in particular who was practically seen as the biggest backstabber in all this, Project Melody. She didn't make any public statements or apologies regarding this incident, and as far as we know, did not do so privately either. Nux has never mentioned this. It was especially weird since Nux had collabed with her the most out of anyone in Vshojo, and they've had a multi-year friendship. But by that point, the drama had been going on for quite a while now. The talents clearly just wanted to move on and get back to creating content, and it seemed like the community was heading in that direction too. But as things were finally starting to heal, Gunrun would make it a point to post this article on medium.com saying, addressing miscommunications, I hope this clears the air on the confusion, let's move forward together. And
It's not
let's break
miscommunications,
This
it's
an
going
article
back
attempting
on the
to show
very
that
words
Vshojo
you said.
already knew about this.
Miscommunications is two parties talking and one of them not understanding the other. Okay? But this is like not that. This is going back on what you clearly stated. And Nux was like, alright, I'm good, I'll post it. Because they literally were like, hey, just don't do this and this, and then it's good. And then he didn't do this and this, so he posted it. And then they're like, he did bad. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Security accusations, did not condone Nux in any way, and was always behind their talents, while of course acknowledging some wrongdoings in the process. But they would refute the allegation that Vshojo gave Nux approval to release his video, saying that the reality is that Vshojo never at any point said that he had permission, nor were we asked. Vshojo was given limited time to
False.
suggest edits and create
He
a
has
statement.
proof.
Politeness in Twitter reply text was misconstrued as approval/endorsement. Suggestions for edits were ignored beyond blurring of some names, and Phoenix makes efforts to educate Nux on why this is a bad move, which are ignored. But this
Where?
wasn't just
Prove it.
Gunrun also added more fuel to the fire by saying, staff's context. There is a negative history of interaction between Vshojo and Nux that led us to proceed with extreme caution. Something that had yet again come out of nowhere because, as I said earlier, people were under the impression...
The fuck you mean? If there was negative history, then you wouldn't let your fucking girls in your company stream with him. What are you talking about?
that they were all friends. Gunrun would then post the full conversations that Nux had shown in his video, and in the first one it would be Phoenix imploring Nux not to fall for the bait of that one fan who reached out to him because it's not random. Their MO is to do this good cop, bad cop thing. But Nux wasn't having any of it. He was convinced it was a fan, he wasn't being socially engineered at any point. This showed us that Nux was stubborn, and even though he understood some aspects of doxing, was very naive, sure. But never at any point in time did Phoenix express that he didn't want Nux to release the video, only sending him timestamps to change things. Gunrun would conclude this by saying, "We hope clearing the air here with our context helps put this drama behind all of us. I'm understanding of Nux's stance and hope our detailing from our side helps put everything into context. We do not wish to see this matter escalate further. Do not send hate or harassment to anyone."
Oh, brother, this guy
stinks! I hope all fandoms can see the many perspectives of this complicated interaction between Vshojo and Nux. Thanks everyone for reading.
Good to know that this man was a two-faced whore from the beginning.
Gunrun. Of course, as is the trend with this controversy, people were left even more confused after reading this. When you say something like, "Thank you, Nux, for working with us," how is that not a way of you saying that you approve of the video? It just didn't make any sense.
Exactly!
Finally, Nux would post a video titled Moving Forward on his second channel, and would detail how throughout the entire week of him releasing the video, he was barely sleeping, having anxiety attacks, and overall really showing us that no one here, including the Vshojo talent...
Anxiety is not a fucking joke. That's why my heart rate has been, like, vibing up over 100 all fucking day long. I actually used to be on medication for my anxiety because it was really, really bad. But like a month or two, I decided to go off of it because I was like, you know what? The thing that was causing my anxiety a lot, it's gone. So I should be good. And because it was causing other negative side effects that I wasn't really happy with. And I wasn't on a high enough dose for me going off to be a problem, and talked with my doctor about it. They agreed, and goddamn, I miss because my anxiety is so bad. I feel like those stupid cheetahs in the zoo where they have to have a fucking golden retriever to keep them calm, which my golden retriever's not allowed in the computer room anymore because she tore up cables on one of my retro consoles.
It's had a good time. But even
So
though
I
I'm
don't
sure
even
many
have
people were
that.
hoping that things would die down there were still way too many questions surrounding this whole incident. A lot of things simply didn't make any sense, causing many YouTubers like Turkey Tom to make videos about this whole mystery surrounding
Exciting as
this
hell,
incident and garnering over 1.2 million views. People weren't
You can't eat, you can't sleep. Anyways.
satisfied with how this concluded.
Sorry.
And you can see that the top reply on Gunrun's post to Medium was Omni saying, at least apologize to the dude? He got dragged for the past 2 days, and the deleted thank you tweet made it even worse. Nux took accountability, only fair to do the same, methinks. People had many theories as to what had happened, how this miscommunication could have occurred. One of the most common ones
like,
that
what
was
the
even
fuck
mentioned in
happened?
Turkey Tom's video about the situation was that Nux Taku was in the process of founding his own VTuber agency at the time. Vshojo's management saw this as a threat, so they took the opportunity to character assassinate him in
Interesting.
public, making him seem very problematic and making other VTubers not want to associate with him. Now look, I'll admit, when I first heard this theory, I thought, come on, this is way too far-fetched.
That's
But
kinda
you have to remember
sus.
that the VTubing scene back then was so much smaller than it is today. And Nux was at the absolute top. The guy had 2 million subscribers as a VTuber. He knew everyone in the scene. No one didn't know who he was. He could have so easily made an agency that directly competed with Vshojo. But with Vshojo's management, as well as Project Melody, his friend of multiple years, truly stoop this low in order to take down a potential
Vshojo?
competitor?
Oh,
Honestly,
yeah.
as someone who's
Hell.
covered the VTubing industry for a while
Yeah.
now, that's not even the craziest thing I heard this week. But I think if we're going to take a more realistic approach with all the evidence we currently have, then what most likely happened is that Vshojo was totally down with the idea of letting Nux post the video. This tweet was sincere. However, when management saw how much this pissed off the talent, how they were completely against the idea of this video, they did a full 180, deleted the tweet, and backstabbed Nux into being the fall guy so that they wouldn't piss off their talents. When reading Nyanner's messages, it seemed like she had a very strong negative impression of Nux, saying things like, "He doesn't care about helping us. If he did, he would have listened to several of our concerns when it came to how he treats people and uses them for content." Something echoed by other Vshojo talents when it came to criticizing him. It seemed like someone was getting some very wrong information, and maybe Nux wasn't the only victim here, the talents were too, they just had no idea. Regardless though, back then, no one really bothered delving that deep, instead preferring to go either Team Nux or Team Vshojo, with Team Nux claiming that Nux had done nothing wrong, that he was the victim here, and with Team Vshojo being convinced that Nux is a clout chaser that doesn't care about anyone but himself. The whole thing would truly stain Vshojo's reputation and show them as unprofessional. How could they ever compete with the likes of Hololive when they never had such weird petty drama? How could they compete with Nijisanji when none of the talents would ever dare to make a public
attacking
statement
someone's
criticizing
character
another VTuber like that?
When they do everything in good faith is such a disgustingly vile thing to do. I don't care. Like, and not going out of your way to learn more. Oop. Gotta kick another kickbot to the fucking moon. Goodbye, you bastard. Alright. That made me lose my train of thought. But yeah, going after someone's character, like, obviously they were friends at one point, and if you had a problem, one, you talk with them. You don't just go, yeah, we've had a problem with him for a while, without, you know, actually discussing it with him, but we're just gonna shit on him because he did something we didn't like. That is some mean girl shit that I don't like, and I never want to be a part of. I do not like that kind of stuff. Is that the kickbot? Are my kick alerts off the screen? If so, that's very funny. Huh, I wonder how that got fucked up. Okay. Why are my kick alerts like that? It was a bot, it doesn't matter. Okay. Let's lock that again, and back to the video.
Maybe talent freedom was a mistake. With just one controversy, Vshojo had gone from hopeful contender to yet another talent agency that could never compete with the professionalism of Japan. But hey, while this would definitely be damaging to their reputation and be brought up multiple times by haters in the future, the internet has very short-term memory. Give it 1 or 2 weeks, and even the most major dramas get forgotten. And so after 2021 had ended, Vshojo had somewhat been able to put itself back on the map in a very strong way. During 2022, Iron Mouse, a VTuber under Vshojo, would grow so quickly that even the mainstream outside of the VTubing community was made aware of her existence. On February 5th, 2022, she would hold her first ever subathon, streaming for 30 days straight and garnering over 171,000 Twitch subscribers.
Hell yeah.
That equates to over $850,000 before Twitch takes their cut. Articles like this were being written about her, saying that she was breaking all kinds of Twitch records. By that point, you'd see people who didn't even know what VTubing was hearing about Iron Mouse's success.
That model's so pretty.
Well, Vshojo made it a goal to make you hear about her and every other talent in the roster, enlisting Crunchyroll to interview every single one of them while having them talk about their favorite animes of all time. But that's not all. When it came to VTuber-related awards, the Vshojo girls were dominating, with the Streamy Awards having 5 nominees and 4 of them being from Vshojo. That's not all though, because the Streamer Awards would have 4 nominees and 3 of them would end up being from Vshojo. They wouldn't win that year, but it was still very notable. But regardless, the efforts of these talents, including Iron Mouse's very successful subathon, the Vshojo girls being nominated practically everywhere, and Vshojo's efforts to make marketing a priority, ended up being somewhat of a success, because the CEO was able to raise over $11 million for the company. More specifically, during seed funding led by Athos Capital with participation from
they were
GFR
good at
Funds
getting
and
money,
Green Bay Ventures.
not spending it.
Vshojo, a VTuber talent agency, had somehow secured an 8-figure funding round from Venture Capital, infamously known for wanting to get their money back no matter what, and also only known to invest in companies with long-term growth potential. They didn't just invest in anything, which made many believe, well, shit. Vshojo must be doing something right compared to other agencies because, wow, that's very impressive. And Gunrun, of course, with this announcement showed huge confidence, saying VTubers are the future of the content creator industry. Adding, since the medium is built upon animated personas, it is more accessible and scalable than being a traditional creator, especially as the technology becomes more widespread. With the funding from Anthos Capital, we are now in a better position to support and grow talent in this market with more innovative technology, extensive promotion, and the ability to assist with content creation and distribution. So this money was going to go towards specifically growing their existing talent roster, pretty much any VTuber's dream at the time. And speaking of VTubers, a few months after raising $11 million, Vshojo would add 2 more talents to its roster, marking their first major expansion since recruiting Veibe in 2021, adding both Kei-san and Amamiya Nazuna to their roster. And what made these talents special is that they were based in Japan and spoke Japanese most of the time on their streams, showing us that Vshojo wasn't just interested in English speakers, they were interested in this talent-first approach.
This model is so pretty. I love the design of this model.
Globally, with Gunrun saying that this expansion will break down barriers in VTubing, and it kinda did. On her first stream after joining Vshojo, Amamiya Nazuna would get over 30,000 concurrent viewers on her Twitch stream, while Kei-san would also receive just as many, if not a bit more, with her YouTube debut being at almost 1 million views today. At the same time, Vshojo wasn't lying. They were truly putting those $11 million to use, putting their existing talent at the center of some very cool projects, be it animated music videos or just straight up general marketing. By the end of 2022, Vshojo was yet again seen as an agency that could someday compete directly with Hololive and Nijisanji if they weren't already. Yeah, sure, they've been through a very big controversy with Nux that put everything into question, but whatever, that's behind us. They got 2 more talents, raised over $11 million, and were doing some amazing things.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Wow, we have a YouTube bot. I haven't seen those. Wow. Let's see. Spam. Hide. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Damn, bots are getting worse.
Things could only get better from here, right? Well, you know how it goes. Good times don't last forever. And very shortly after 2023 had begun, Vshojo would find itself in such an unpleasant situation that to many, it seemed like this was going to be their biggest existential threat yet. Harry Potter is a series of books that needs no introduction. It's critically acclaimed across the world.
Did I just have a stroke, or did we go from fucking Vshojo to Harry Potter? What just happened? I need more water. I'll be right back. I hath returned with my water. Alright.
This was going to be their biggest existential
I think I just got flat. It was Harry Potter,
Harry Potter is a series of books that needs no introduction. It's critically acclaimed across the world. The same can be said about the movies that were based on those same books. This, of course, resulted in having a very large and extremely passionate fan base all across the globe. The person behind these books is none other than J.K. Rowling. And for most of her career, she was loved by pretty much anyone who loved Harry Potter. Her humble background, as well as her authenticity, truly made it hard to dislike her. But then one day, just like many other celebrities, she decided to take the decision of splitting her audience in half by becoming political. You see, in 2011, the Syrian population would revolt against its current regime. The result would be a civil war that would last for over a decade, destroying huge chunks of the country and spreading Syrian refugees all across the world.
I didn't think that was the politics that was the problem.
Crisis. And at a certain point, political voices in Europe specifically would start expressing that the infrastructure of their countries could barely support their current population, that they were not fit to take in so many millions of refugees, trying their best to stop them. J.K. Rowling would see this and would take the decision to use her platform to show solidarity with every single refugee coming to her country, tweeting, "If you can't imagine yourself in one of those boats," the boats the refugees were using, "you have something missing. They are dying for a life worth living. Hashtag refugees welcome." Half her audience found her to be hypocritical, saying things like, "Well, if you want refugees, then why don't you take any in your massive mansion?" And the other half was fully in support, praising her and really admiring the fact that she would use her platform for such a humanitarian cause. 5 years later, though, J.K. Rowling would take on a stance that wouldn't just split her audience in half, it would more accurately shatter them into 1,000 pieces. She was an article for using the term "people who menstruate," saying, "I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wumben, wimpend, wumid," implying that there's a word for this. It's called women, and that people who menstruate is a silly term. People, specifically the audience that had supported her so staunchly during her 2015 moral stance, were outraged. But J.K. Rowling doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down. Honestly, she went all the way to the moon, saying things like, "If sex isn't real, there's no same-sex attraction. If sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. It isn't hate to speak the truth." Over the years, she wouldn't let this topic go, and this would result in her creating a substantial amount of haters that used to be her ex-fans, ones that were particularly very loud on the internet. So on September 16th, 2020, when Hogwarts Legacy, a game developed by Warner Brothers, was announced, Harry Potter fans all around the world were extremely excited because this actually looked good. It wasn't one of those crap movie games that looked like they were done on a budget over a year. You'd actually be able to explore Hogwarts here and actually become a wizard just like in the movies and the books. But when the game was heading towards its release on February 10th, 2023, those J.K. Rowling haters had another idea. This post on Gaming Circle Jerk would be one of many, saying, "A friendly reminder from your mod team that this woman is a TERF and anyone who pledges to support her monetarily is also a transphobe." TERF being an acronym meaning Trans Exclusionary Radical
idea
Feminist,
ever. I hate it.
That J.K. Rowling had used openly in order to describe her beliefs. This post was made by a mod of the Gaming Circle Jerk subreddit and drew over 4,000 comments. This wasn't the only subreddit or community.
You can't dictate what I am or am I.
And so when the game came out and actually had an astounding success, those people boycotting the game shifted their attention to the people who bought it. More specifically, people who were making content about it, helping spread the word about.
Legit, like, to attack the people that play the game or make the game because it's based off of a fictional world of a person you don't like is so low and simple-minded. There are so many other people that put the time and effort into making that game that may or may not have the same fucking beliefs that you do. And not only that, I have played that game, and it is literally so, like, it is trans positive. You could have a more feminine body, but be a male. You could have a more masculine body, but be a female. It lets you choose who you want to be. And people shat on it without even giving it a fucking chance because of one person that's associated with it that probably had little to no interaction with the fucking game. Ridiculous.
How good of a game it was. This is when the Hogwarts Legacy harassment campaign would begin, and you had people like this individual make an entire website where you could put the username of a streamer and it would tell you if they played that wizard game. This was taken to the absolute extreme, and here's just one example. The channel Girlfriend Reviews features a couple playing games, and the chat was harassing them so much throughout their playthrough that the girlfriend in question started crying and ended the stream. Bear in mind, this was a streamer who had a donation link to a charity that helped the LGBT directly, but these fanatics made no differentiation. And one of the people who had suffered the most from harassment and other disgusting things in relation to her playing the game was none other than the Vshojo talent Silverveil, being absolutely harassed to tears just for having played the game. Here's a clip of that in which he describes what she's been going through just for having launched that game on stream. Watch.
And harassment and doxing and people doxing my friends and like so much horrible, vile things all from streaming a fucking video game.
So this wasn't just harassment.
Those people literally had no life, and they need to actually
successful attempts to maybe dox her
go
friends.
touch fucking grass. I know that's a joke. Like, go touch grass. Like, no, these people are online way too much. They need to put down the phone, turn off the internet, and actually go out in nature for 5 minutes and rethink their life choices. And maybe they can calm the fuck down. Because you know what? You don't have to attack people every 5 fucking minutes in order to exist as a person. Did you know that? There used to be a time where people could be neighbors, have completely different beliefs, and still have a decent goddamn conversation. But now people will attack you just because you don't think the same thing they do, and they will basically dox you, threaten your life, and all this kind of shit, and it's ridiculous. People really need to just rethink their life choices and go touch grass. It's so, I'm done with it, man. I'm done. I only go on Twitter to fucking, like, post art and self-promote because I cannot deal with all the shit that goes on there 24/7. I am on there very minimally.
DMs, for example, and this isn't just some crying, this is intense crying, like she's been going through it. Of course, some of the amazing individuals who are behind this movement would see this clip on Twitter and would have some very productive things to say, like, this is a volcano lava hot take, but this action should be encouraged, or boohoo plus cry louder plus maybe listen to trans and Jewish people. But what was really interesting here was the approach that both Vshojo and some of its talents took when Silverveil
attacking
was
somebody because they're playing a video game is
content creation career. One of the only people who would speak out in support of Silverveil was actually Ironmouse, saying nobody deserves to feel threatened and live in fear every day of their life. That is not right. Specifying that there are ways to support the LGBTQ+ in positive ways, while hoping that people become a little kinder to each other. But here's where things get very tricky. Around the time this harassment campaign was taking place, Fruit, who is another Vshojo talent, would tweet, "It costs me $0 every day to be kind and accept people for who they are. So for every like this tweet gets, I'm donating $1 to Mermaids, a charity that supports gender diverse children." Seeing that no one except for Ironmouse had said anything about Silverveil being harassed, and this was the closest thing that Fruit had said about the situation, people immediately assumed that this was Fruit subtweeting Silverveil, giving her sort of a middle finger, so to speak. Now, of course, Fruit would quote tweet this tweet 12 hours later and specify, "My twin brother means the world to me more than anyone. It means a lot to me to support and protect people like him any way I can. If there's a better transgender supporting charity to donate to, I can just switch. It's not that deep." So yeah, Fruit probably saw everything going on surrounding Hogwarts Legacy and decided, you know what, instead of hate, let's just donate. Let's just use money to donate to this cause. But of course, by that time, it was too late. People had already made up their mind about this tweet, and it made many assume, oh, wait a second, is there trouble at home at Vshojo? Are the talents not all friends? What else are they hiding from us? And what didn't help at all is that during this time period, Vshojo had said nothing. They were in complete and utter radio silence.
That's what they do.
Come out in support of Silverveil. They had not commented on Fruit's tweet. And it made people start questioning, why is Silverveil even in an agency?
They wait till whatever,
right now,
wait till they can figure out whatever answer is going to make them look better.
An indie VTuber being harassed all alone and not having the support of anyone, including her own agency, because in the end she was a Vshojo talent, and her being harassed like this was ruining her reputation in some way, which also in turn ruined Vshojo's reputation and the talents within it. In fact, regarding Silverveil, the only thing we'd hear would only be a couple months later in a shock announcement that no one was expecting. It would be Vshojo posting this on April 26, 2023, saying, "To our community, Silverveil and they have chosen not to renew their contracts at Vshojo. We respect their decision and want to thank them for helping make Vshojo what it is today. They will also retain their IP so they can continue as the creators you love. We wish them the best on the next leg of their journey. Sincerely, the Vshojo team." So look, by 2023, when it came to graduations, people were used to how Nijisanji and Hololive did them, which was one at a time, spaced out, with a graduation stream in which talents say goodbye. This was an absolute shock on every level, not to mention that a founding member and the first external member to have joined the company were both leaving. And as soon as this announcement had come out, they would quote tweet it with this image of her in Silverveil saying, "Indie bitches." Naturally, seeing how rare a double graduation was and seeing this quote tweet made many people question what was going on and come up with conspiracy theories. So hours later, Vey would clarify, "Since this post got so much traction and people are speculating as to why I have left and blaming other talent for it, it's nothing like that at all. I left because new contracts didn't make any financial sense to me." So you see, again, there was this rumor that the talent at Vshojo was not in agreement, that the girls were fighting, especially with the conspiracy theories running rampant over Fruit's tweet in regards to Silverveil. Vey would continue, "I can't speak for Silver because we didn't leave together. We were just announced on the same day. Can't say much else because of legal shit and stuff, but please be kind to everyone involved. Don't make weird rumors up to control your own narrative. TLDR, left because new contract, no good. And for all indies, always hire a lawyer to read through any contract, however minor it may seem. I know it's a scary process.
You can't trust anybody.
You'll be so fucking thankful down the line. Hire lawyers that know what the industry standards are. Okay, have a nice day, you fuckers." So this was her attempt to completely kill any speculation
Have a nice
or
day,
conspiracy theories surrounding her
fuckers.
graduation. She just
Love
wanted
it.
to move on as soon as possible. Silverveil would echo the same exact statement on her stream, saying this, watch.
Anyone missed the announcement? Vay and I are both leaving. We were announced the same day.
Having all the mics is so funny.
It has nothing to do with each other. It was independent. We are just being announced on the exact same day.
So this whole thing was kind of messy. Why announce two talents at the same time and have to make them both make separate statements saying, guys, it just so happens that we both wanted to leave the company
To
and
make
they
them
announced
look
us on
bad?
the same day. It was definitely a shock, but hey, at least Vshojo kept their word. They would be keeping their IP. This wasn't a graduation in the traditional sense because nothing would be changing. They would continue streaming just like they did before joining Vshojo. And so as soon as people were starting to finally process this news and maybe even start to move on, just a few days later, Vshojo would come up with another bombshell saying, to our community, we'd like to inform you that Nyanners has decided not to renew her contract with Vshojo. We fully support her decision and are grateful for her contributions to the growth of Vshojo. Nyanners will retain her IP, ensuring she can carry on as the beloved creator you know. We wish her the best in her future endeavors. Sincerely, the Vshojo team. This was another complete shock. Okay, listen.
Spirit of
one founding
Halloween.
member, the first member to join, and another founding member in the span of 1 week? Nyanners would release her own statement saying, after much consideration, I've decided not to renew my contract with Vshojo and return to being an indie. This decision is my own and not a reflection of my relationship with any of the other members, and it is something I have been seriously deliberating for a while. I'm deeply appreciative of all the
Crazy.
opportunities that being
Absolutely
a member of
crazy.
Vshojo has presented over the past 2 years and wish everyone, staff and fellow talent alike, all the best. While this change likely comes as a surprise, it won't change who I am, any of my content, or who I choose to collaborate with moving forward. My streams will continue as usual. I'm looking forward to seeing what the future will bring in this new chapter. Thank you all for your support and understanding. Nyanners. So again, dispelling the rumor that no, this is not because other talent in the agency is pissing me off or is being toxic. This is my own decision and I'm leaving with no drama. I just want to put this behind me. But how can we just put this behind us and move on so easily when so many members had left in just the span of
That's
a few
like
days?
30%.
Vshojo had 10 members by this
30%
point,
of
and
the
they had
company
essentially
just
lost 30% of their talent roster just like that. If the
Thanos
talents were
snapped.
truly happy, then
Gone.
that wouldn't have happened. So what the hell was going on? More importantly though, was anyone else going to leave as well? And that's when people understood there was a risk that Iron Mouse could leave. And if she did, this talent agency would have, without exaggeration, imploded in just a few months afterwards. So people were obviously concerned. They loved Vshojo, they loved the talent there, they didn't want to see it implode. So many were asking Iron Mouse, hey, like, are you gonna stay? Are you gonna leave? To which she responded. This is a clip that was in False ID's video from over 2 years ago, in which she says that she's currently negotiating. Watch.
Have to make this very large. Good news or bad news? I don't know. I don't know if it's good news or bad news. Leaving Vshojo, guys, I'm still in contract negotiations.
So this definitely didn't reassure her audience or anyone who was a fan of Vshojo. Iron Mouse
I'm
was
still
in
in
contract
contract
negotiations. 3 talents had
negotiations.
just left. If she leaves too, we can safely say the agency's not really going anywhere. So without exaggeration, it was facing an existential threat. And seeing how often people would see VTuber agencies establish themselves then literally fall apart within a few months, the same fate awaiting Vshojo didn't really seem that far-fetched. Except it was. Because shortly after this, in the summer of 2023, Vshojo would begin a new chapter that would thrust it straight into its golden age, where it finally became a global contender. One could say that Vshojo started taking their first steps towards a golden age barely 10 days after Nyanners had officially left the company. Yes, even though the entire agency's future was being put into question, they managed to surprise everyone on May 11th, 2023, when they would announce that they'd be adding the first English-speaking VTuber to their roster since Vshojo in 2021. And that VTuber would be Henya the Genius. Someone who already was very beloved and had one hell of a fan base in another corporation and had left it recently, not being able to keep her IP and restarting in Vshojo. And one of the many things that made her special is that she was both fluent in English and Japanese, which helped her further bridge the gap between Vshojo and their Japanese subsidiary.
I'm pretty sure Henya is so what oh shit, what was it that they said? It was so fucking funny. Oh my god. Oh no, I'm gonna try to remember
Agency
it.
wasn't done here. Just barely a few months later, they would also recruit yet another new member by the name of Giga, another independent VTuber that was already established and had a fan base that was going to follow her into Vshojo. What made these two talents special is that they weren't problematic at all. If anything, they were wholesome and well liked by the community. This was Vshojo heading in the right direction, but it was them barely getting started. You see, at the time, one couldn't simply ignore just how big Nijisanji's English branch had gotten. Just like their main competitor, Hololive, they had established some very well-known household names in the VTubing industry, and with them came
I've only seen Vantacrow.
Sometimes rabid.
I didn't know that they were part of a company. I've just seen their fucking shorts pop up on my YouTube feed. Oh.
That would do anything to show their love to their idols. In other words, they bought any merch you threw at them, okay? They were money printers. So when some talents started to all of a sudden start leaving Nijisanji around the end of 2023, Vshojo would take notice and take full advantage of the situation, announcing the recruitment of a new member very shortly after Giga. This time, it was Kuro, an ex-Nijisanji VTuber that had a very loyal fan base and had an established identity in the scene. But they were on a roll because barely 2 weeks afterwards, they would announce yet another member joining, Matara-kan, also being a very well-established ex-Nijisanji member. These two would have an indescribable positive impact on Vshojo's PR. Kuro would bring in some much-needed humor and expertise from his days at Nijisanji running a big fan base, and Matara would come in to act like some sort of a maternal figure to the Vshojo talent roster, balancing the chaotic energy exhibited by the rest of the roster. All this would serve as the building blocks, as the foundation to the most important moment in Vshojo's history, when they would take complete advantage of the downfall of one of their biggest competitors. On February 2024, we would witness the biggest PR disaster in VTuber history, when Talon Tatsuki, one of Nijisanji's English VTubers, would attempt to leave this planet twice, citing the toxic work culture in Nijisanji as the main reason. And instead of trying to fix or even salvage the situation, Nijisanji decided to terminate her. What would follow would be mass graduations of the English branch of Nijisanji, and their reputation would never get close to recovering. Vshojo would see this and would take this opportunity to devour Nijisanji's massive rotting corpse in order to replace them and claim their spot of top 2 VTuber agency, competing directly with Hololive. On April 2024, they would recruit Michi Mochievi, another very well-beloved and established ex-Nijisanji talent. And what would happen afterwards is the complete and full redemption of Vshojo's reputation. You see, these ex-Nijisanji talents like Michi would go on to praise how happy they are at Vshojo in comparison to their previous workplace, being Nijisanji, saying that they've never worked at a place like this before, that their past workplace made them feel terrible, and that here they feel valued. They feel like an actual person. We also would hear something very shocking, the fact that Kuro had over 350,000 British pounds in tax debt, because apparently his previous company, Nijisanji, would tell him that they'll handle taxes for him and take a cut from his paycheck, only to end up not paying a single dollar. He was essentially scammed. So he reached out to Iron Mouse for help in order to figure out what was going on, and she referred him to the CEO of Vshojo, Gunrun, who personally took the time out of his day to help him and put him in touch with an accountant and eventually recruited him into Vshojo. I mean, guys, at this point, can we just stop calling him Gunrun? Can we call him Gun Angel? Because, I mean, seriously, Vshojo seemed to be the complete opposite of Nijisanji. This same rhetoric was echoed by Matara in a discussion with Kuro, in which they were reminiscing how their former company mentally affected them and how happy they are at Vshojo today. I mean, look, by that point, this sentiment was pretty common to find. People felt that Vshojo was the savior of the VTuber industry, the agency correcting Nijisanji's mistakes and treating their talent like actual human beings, with no toxic workplace and no predatory contracts. And seeing that Iron Mouse had extended her contract with them, they had essentially gone from being a company facing an existential threat to being on top of the world, and things were only getting started for their golden age. Iron Mouse would keep beating records and would get interviewed by the Rolling Stone. Keisan would audition to be in the game Yakuza Like a Dragon and would successfully manage to get in. Vshojo was opening up art galleries in Japan, showcasing art of their VTubers. And Iron Mouse would successfully become the most subscribed to channel on Twitch of all time, giving away half the money she raised to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, a charity that means a lot to her since she suffers from CVID, a condition that weakens her immune system to the point where she can't even go out. This foundation aims to find a cure. And seeing how much this meant to her, the CEO would personally bring her on a walk for the Immune Deficiency Foundation using one hell of a high-tech setup where she can see everything that's happening through this camera. But that's not all. I mean, Gunrun would care so much about his talents that he would personally accompany Iron Mouse when she would win the Best VTuber Award in the Streamer Awards at the end
I'm
of
so happy she
2023.
got that.
And if that wasn't enough to impress you, then maybe their global marketing campaigns would. Plastering the faces of all their talents in Japan, more specifically a metro station in Shinjuku. I mean, guys, by this point, everyone, whether big or small as a content creator, wanted a piece of Vshojo. The idea of joining such an agency that held their talents to such high regards and would give every talent a manager to handle day-to-day tasks while they would focus on what was important to them simply sounded amazing. It seemed that this talent freedom approach was truly working, and Vshojo knew exactly what
Apparently,
they were
those are
doing.
very
But hold your horses.
expensive.
I mean, this
to
success
have.
does come with a price. Yes, there is such a thing as suffering from success, and Vshojo was about to find that out. Seeing that everyone wanted to join them, many were wondering what had happened to the audition form that was posted back in 2021. Was that simply to recruit an already established independent streamer like Vebe? Many would start making a joke that Vshojo was nothing more than a glorified Nijisanji retirement home. That, or they would just hire friends, that they were a nepotism-centric company. The problem was that this criticism didn't reach the company, it would reach the talents directly, causing someone like Zentreya to reach a breaking point. With her tweeting this out during July 2024, saying, "Heartbreaking and disheartening to see so many people pushing the idea of Zen friends only when each person I found had to work their way to the top regardless. I have other friends who don't want to join who are working their asses off and doing amazing things. I even pushed management to open auditions again finally after so long and to scout for new and upcoming people to mesh with. I wanted to meet new people and let the others get a sense for them as well and see who would fit into the puzzle. Then I came to a realization that even if we bring in a new person, people will claim we focused on new people instead of helping others who are halfway to success, or other larger creators be a part of something fun. Either way is a loss. I just wanted to do right and help smaller and up and coming as well as the potential to bring someone on the rise. Management and Gunrun are working their butts off to do all of this, and now I feel as though I made a mistake in doing this. Who knows? But I hope you all still try because I started from the bottom too and I put in the work." This tweet was made in reference to Vshojo finally reopening applications after 3 years on July 10th, 2024, a day before Zentreya's tweet. And putting aside the fact that some talents were literally getting harassed over this, this was actually a net positive for Vshojo. You had droves of undiscovered talented VTubers, established VTubers, big, medium, small VTubers, all wanting to join your agency because goddamn, you guys were doing a great job. I mean, this post alone had over 5 million views, over 1,000 replies, with some very big independent VTubers commenting on it. If you hadn't noticed yet, this is what a golden
Chat, do I apply Tectone? Chat, do I apply? Oh, that's so funny.
If you hadn't noticed yet, this is what a golden age looks like.
I'm pretty sure Kenji. Oh my god, Kenji. I don't know if he replied to that or something else. But after like Iron Mouse did her video, Kenji quote tweeted his thing and said, "Never mind." It's so funny.
5 months later, Amelie, who is a very well-established voice actor, VTuber, and singer, would make the announcement that she was joining Vshojo. This was of course huge for the agency, but at the same time, Amelie noticed that there were some replies that were fairly negative about her joining. Feeling the need to specify, this reveal has been in the works for almost a year and a half. And just to clear up any confusion, I was not a part of the auditions, but I'm so excited for the future debuts of new members. This is simply how badly people were clawing at the chance of joining this agency. She had to actually specify this. But Vshojo had made an entire subsidiary in Japan, not just for Kei-san and Amamiya Nazuna. They had very big plans for the country in which VTubing originated in. At the end of 2024, they teased 4 different Japanese talents joining their roster. This time under a wave or a team called Vshojo Nova. And by the beginning of July 2025, they would unveil it, launch it alongside Universal Music Group. This wasn't just yet another VTuber wave, these were superstars in the making. I mean, at this point, maybe Gunrun saying back in 2020 that Vshojo was going to be a new era of VTubing wasn't so far-fetched. Not only were they on top of the world, but now they were considered a direct competitor to Hololive and someone who had very easily outdone Nijisanji. The sky was the limit, and if this company became worth $1 billion in the coming years, no one would have been surprised. But you see, speaking about money, how did they make it exactly? You see, this was a question that would start to be asked as early as 2023. Agencies typically took a cut of sponsors, donations, subs, and merch from talents in order to sustain their business. But Vshojo would only do so, as far as we knew, whenever they brought in a sponsor and whenever there was merch on the line. never taking any of the donations or sub money of their talents. I personally got the chance to speak with someone notable in the content creator industry, and they told me that Vshojo for them was a red flag since 2023, truly wondering how this company even functioned and made money. This Redditor right here was also wondering the same thing, and I mean, look at the top comment. It said, I think there's a running joke about this because I swear I've seen Henya, Keisan, and Giga all commenting, I have no idea how Vshojo makes money, insinuating their contracts are really good. I'm sure there's a really good explanation, but my headcanon is that Gunrun and Vshojo really just enjoy what they do and don't make a ton of money doing it, but live comfortably enough because their hobby is being support for the parents. At that point, Vshojo was so well established that people who were asking these questions, who were showing these concerns, were simply called stupid and people moved on. This would of course be the sentiment until the end of their golden age, when cracks in the company would start being very hard to ignore and multiple very shocking announcements would be made. On March 6th, 2025, Matara-Khan would tweet this, saying, today's the day, Momos, send me your energy, I need it. She didn't really specify further, but it seemed like it was a very important day for her and she was asking her community to send her good vibes. We wouldn't hear from her again until 2 days later, on March 8th, in which she would tweet out, hey everyone, as I said on stream today, I'll be taking an immediate emergency time off. Some things came up that I cannot address right now, but I promise you will know soon enough. All is good. I am good. I just need to deal with it all ASAP. I love you, Momos.
That would be scary.
Now, look, at this point, people were hoping for the best. It's not the first time a big VTuber took a break like this, but it definitely seemed very sudden, and she definitely was trying very hard to reassure her community that nothing was truly wrong, except something was wrong, and we would find that out almost a month later. As the Cinder incident was taking over the entirety of the VTubing community, something else would creep up on the side and shock everyone. One day after Cinder had posted her infamous apology, Vshojo would post this, saying, Dear community members, we want to share that after careful thought and consideration, we've made the difficult decision to formally part ways with Matara on May 5th, 2025. We're genuinely grateful for everything she's brought to Vshojo and wish her the best moving forward. Goodbyes are never easy, and we understand many of you deeply care about Matara as we do. The best way to support us both right now is with kindness, understanding, and respect for everyone's feelings and privacy during this transition. We're committed to our incredible talent, community, and the values we share. Thank you all for your empathy and continued support. To say that people were absolutely shocked.
Can we catch a fucking break? To say that people were shocked and then show his own tweet is based. Oh my god. Sending all my love to Mata and you guys, but
As I said, up until that point, Matara was seen as the motherly figure of the entire talent roster. She'd be someone with an opinion that was highly valued in the company, and would, throughout many occasions, sing the praises of Vshojo. So why the hell was she graduating, and why was it so sudden? Well, here's what she had to say about it. Vshojo made the decision to part ways with me on March 6th, effective May 5th. I thank the girls, plus Kuro, for the great times we had together and the wonderful moments we shared in the last 18 months. I wish the remaining talent in Vshojo the best of luck in their activities. I love them very much and I will carry on being their bug auntie. I will continue streaming as Matara-Khan because I am Matara-Khan and I hope the Momos can still cheer me on even if I won't be Matara-Khan of Vshojo. So this tweet actually didn't specify much, but it gave us a couple of clues. Vshojo made the decision to part ways with me on March 6th. The same exact day she said, today is the day, Momo, send me your energy, I need it. 2 days before she said, I'm taking immediate emergency time off. But realistically, we really had no idea what was going on. It just seemed like Vshojo had fired her in a way. And as people were barely recovering from what had happened with Cinder and what was now going on at Vshojo, 2 weeks later, another bombshell announcement would drop. Mountain Dew, one of the co-founders of Vshojo, would say, after 5 years, I am leaving Vshojo. For the past 5 years, Vshojo has been an integral part of my life and journey. Since its inception, I have had the honor and the privilege of working with some of the most hardworking and intelligent team members and have made many friends throughout the VTubing and streaming community. I will always cherish the time we spent together. I take great pride in my contributions to the growth of the Vshojo brand, helping shape what it is today through my involvement in most of the forward-facing, large-scale media and the behind-the-scenes growth operations within the company. As of today, I am formally stepping down from my position as Chief Marketing Officer and departing the company to explore new creative endeavors. While this was a difficult decision, I believe it is the right time for me to embark on a new chapter of creative fulfillment in my life. Thank you all for the wonderful memories. See you soon, Mountain Dew. As far as we were concerned, this was a legend in the industry, flexing what they had done in Vshojo and saying goodbye in order to do bigger and better things. Overall though, this post definitely felt sudden. Why now of all times? Why 2 weeks after Matara had left? What was going on at the company? We wouldn't get an answer. Instead, a month later, we would get yet another announcement from Vshojo announcing that Giga will be parting ways with the company. On the same day this announcement would be posted, she would specify in a tweet saying, "As of June 27th, I am terminating my contract with Vshojo and will be an independent creator once again. This decision took a long time to come to terms with, but is definitely the best choice for my future. I love my members in Vshojo more than I could ever say."
I've been seeing some of Giga's vids, and it looks like they were working very hard to get any merch that they can out to the fans, which honestly I respect greatly.
Always be their friend and support. There is no world where I want to be without them, both as a creator and as a person, and that is something that doesn't require a contract with an agency to still hold true. I'm wishing all the remaining girls and our dog, which is Kuro, success, always. I'd especially like to thank my manager at Vshojo, Kenzo, for always doing his absolute best for me and making the most of our time working together. Loved you lots. As far as my streaming goes, nothing will change from this, as in indie I handled pretty much everything myself and can easily do so again. Nothing changed when I joined, nothing's changing as I leave. I do have a lot of cool projects coming up very soon, so I'd appreciate everybody's support. I'll see you on stream soon. And she did stream, only to give a very surface level explanation as to why she had left, citing disagreements with management, working on some projects that would never see the light of day, things like that. And again, as people were barely processing the idea that so many talents had been leaving so quickly from Vshojo, 2 days later, on June 27th, 2025, Vshojo would announce that Zentreya, a founding member of Vshojo and someone who was at this point representing the brand itself, was leaving the company. People were wondering, why? Why now? Why you, someone who has championed Vshojo as a company and who seemed like they were never going to leave? And here's what she had to say. On July 11th, I will be leaving Vshojo for new opportunities and a new adventure. My time here was long, and I had many fun moments. It will feel like the end of the world, but know that I will always be here for all of you. Nothing will change other than where I am currently at. Thank you to Vshojo for many years and the memories. Sadly, times change and paths change, and I decided I wanted to follow my own path and do new things in life. I hope you all will continue to follow me on this adventure. I know change is scary. It's a scary thing to see something you saw grow change, but that is how life goes. We all take this walk eventually, so let's go on this adventure together. Thank you for all your continued support, and even if this is where your stop is, then thank you regardless, and best wishes to Vshojo. She would then specify further on the stream that she was doing this for more opportunities and for personal reasons. She, much like the other talents that had left Vshojo so far, didn't want any drama or speculation. And just like that, in the span of like a couple of months, 3 talents, including 1 founding member, had left Vshojo, and let's not forget that they were
I didn't know so many people left like they jumped the ship before the Iron Mouse stuff happened. That's crazy.
By the chief marketing officer, Mountain Dew. This wouldn't be the first time Vshojo would go through this. We saw this ourselves. But this time felt very different, especially because after a couple of weeks, even Panini had left the company after 3 years. This was the director of talent of Vshojo. So you weren't just getting talents leaving, you were also getting some pretty integral people running the company leaving as well. What was going on here? But of course, as you might have guessed, we weren't done here just yet. 7 days later, Iron Mouse would tweet out, "I'm so sorry for not streaming as much these past 2 weeks. I have been going through a lot, but I hope to get back to streaming soon."
I didn't know she posted that.
She was tired, dealing with some symptoms of a sickness, or just overall needed a mental health break. But everyone couldn't have been more wrong in this regard. Getting slapped across the face sideways only 3 days later, when Iron Mouse wouldn't tweet out anything, but instead would release a YouTube video titled, "Why I Left Vshojo." And all you really need to understand the gravity of the situation is listening to the first 30 seconds.
Wild.
I am leaving Vshojo. Unfortunately, I recently found out that for the past couple of months, I have been misled by Vshojo. With the information that I currently have, I believe that I am owed a significant amount of funds, which I have not been paid. And most importantly, the thing that hurts me the most is that the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which is the most important charity to me, and also the reason why I'm here today, is owed over $500,000 from Vshojo.
So not only was she not getting paid by her agency, but they were withholding $500,000 from her that was meant to go directly to charity. She had trusted them to make the payment on her behalf, and they didn't. That's something a supervillain would do. In the rest of the video, she would go on to introduce herself again to anyone new that was watching, describing to them just how important the Immune Deficiency Foundation is to her, how they saved her life, and how she started streaming due to her condition in the hopes of simply finding friends, never thinking she'd grow this big. She also reveals that she's speaking to an attorney at the moment. She can't really reveal everything just yet, but what she can say is that around the time she was renewing her contract, when she was having second thoughts, Gunrun would push this idea on her that the company needed her to succeed, that if she were to leave, Vshojo would fall apart. Now, yes, to an extent, that is actually...
Of course they needed her to stay there. She was the one bringing in the money that they weren't paying anyone.
True, especially after Nyanner, Silvervale, and Vey had left at the same time. But this resulted in her ironically feeling trapped in an agency that claimed talent freedom. She wouldn't be able to leave because she felt responsible for both the company and the talents that she loved very much.
Which isn't fair to her at all.
Tragic. And then she would specify that she wasn't giving up. She would start a new fundraiser on Tiltify, and the cool thing about Tiltify is that they receive the money, the creator doesn't touch a single dollar, and they then send the money to that charity on their own. Within just a few hours, Iron Mouse had raised tens of thousands of dollars, absolutely eclipsing her initial $10,000 goal, with the entire VTuber community backing her up and encouraging everyone to donate. Soon this news would spread like wildfire. Iron Mouse, one of the biggest streamers on the planet, was scammed $500,000 from her agency that was meant to go to charity. The Pandora's box was officially opened. Vshojo was fair game. And when it comes to internet drama like this, once it rains, it fucking pours, baby. And now you had many people come out with their grievances that they had with the company. Like this music composer here saying nowhere near what Mouse is going through, but for the past year, Vshojo has been habitually late in paying me commissions, sometimes leaving thousands of dollars of my invoices unpaid for months at a time. I tried to be patient, but knowing they were stealing charity money from Mousy while this was all happening makes me sick to my stomach.
That's fucking crazy.
Another music artist would quote tweet this and say, I have thousands of dollars of unpaid work from them too. Had to chase people down just to make sure my friends got paid. They even hire someone to help with music stuff, but I ended up managing everything while they got paid for my work. This had gotten to a point where it was so ridiculous that Iron Mouse had to make a statement saying any artists/musicians that worked with me through Vshojo and never got paid.
If she was paying that out of her own pocket though, like after not getting paid too, that would be, I mean, like, good on her, but Jesus, that sucks.
Please contact me ASAP so I can get you paid. I'm so sorry. It turned out that the financial problems of Vshojo weren't just related to talents, they were related to everything. Around that same time, Zentreya would also tweet this out, saying,
Hookers
in all
and blow.
seriousness, I know Vshojo had times where they would take forever to process a payment out to artists when they worked with me if the payment was through Vshojo and not me. I just want to make sure that if you were one, you were paid. Contact me on what project, I'm so sorry. Very shortly after Iron Mouse had released her video, both Kuro and Michi would take Vshojo out of their names on Twitter. As this was all happening, a well-known Japanese media personality would tweet this out, and it would end up being a bombshell, saying, this person moved from a VTuber company to another as a staff last year, bragging about his new income. He thrusted me a few of his new business cards to give to my good contacts. I found the action obnoxiously rude, but maybe he was too young and friendly to know better. Then the motherfucker wanted to meet up for tax advice because I'm a native in Japan and I hire an accountant. I was asked to have dinner in his area, which was quite far from me, splitting the bill.
I heard about
that day
this.
I got convinced I didn't like the guy. Yet because I loved the talents he worked with, I was only secretly hoping he would lose his job one day. Recently, I heard from another creator that he was showing photos of VTubers' real selves while revealing their personal info like marital status. I now wanted to find a way to warn other employees. Today I've learned the most despicable shit the company has done to their talent. Don't know if he's involved with it, yet all my personal grudge is nothing compared to his betrayal. Sometimes, unfortunately, managers or agencies can be the talent's worst enemy. Please always support the talent first. So here Shibuya Kaho was pretty much saying that there was someone who worked at a noted VTuber company, we can only assume it was Nijisanji, was then hired at Vshojo, and that person was very careless with some of these VTubers' identities. Something extremely taboo, seeing that these VTubers valued their privacy above all else. I mean, they're VTubers for a reason, right?
One moment. basically hop over a baby gate with a bad ankle
But even though that was despicable, she would still say that this is nothing compared to what Vshojo had done by stealing $500,000 from Iron Mouse that was meant for charity. Someone in the replies would point out, saying, if you knew about this guy, why didn't you speak up earlier? Revealing a VTuber's information is dangerous to them. It just looks like you joined the bandwagon when it became relevant. To which he said, actually, I just came back from the US where I gathered the info that he was still within the company, and I was actually meeting up with someone who's been working with him in Japan this week. Given that it's a story I heard from someone else, I thought it was best to do in person. Miyari, a Twitch streamer, would corroborate what Shibuya Kaho had said, saying, speaking of Vshojo, I remember one anime expo, I was at an after party and a certain someone was trying to flex how he could arrange private meet and greets with the creators behind the models. Never sat right with me because do these creators even know you're exploiting / treating them like party favors?
Jesus
Zentrea, who
Christ.
cares about her privacy so much that she literally uses a text-to-speech voice in order to communicate, would find out about this and say, someone who worked with Vshojo was giving out info? What the fuck? Are we so fucking
my
serious?
God.
She then tagged a gun run and said, dude, what the absolute fuck? I wasn't aware of this and I am assuming the others weren't either. Did you know? She would then edit the post and say, reading, it was Japanese side and it's so fucked, dude. It still stands and I personally don't even know what all happened behind the scenes on the English side. I just followed so blindly, leading Vshojo thinking it's all cool, man. F me for being stupid.
Insane.
Obviously the community shared her shock, but
Insane.
also emphasized don't blame yourself. You didn't know.
If you... Oh, Shay Lily, don't you dare blame yourself for others' actions. Shay Lily's such a sweetheart. Oh my gosh. Sorry, what the fuck? But still, Jesus Christ. You hire someone who is like a problem person? Are you kidding me?
Even Mountain Dew, who used to be the chief marketing officer of Vshojo and one of the co-founders, would say, nah bro, what the absolute fuck, tagging gun run on Twitter. Things were devolving, and they were devolving very quickly, with all these events barely happening within the span of 24 hours after Iron Mouse had posted her video. Now, seeing that Keisan was in a different time zone, she woke up to absolute chaos. But she wasn't just going to simply sit by and watch all of this burn. She immediately announced a live stream at 9.
Can you imagine living in a different time zone but being a part of the same company? Iron Mouse drops their video and then you wake up to just the internet exploding and your very company that you work for imploding upon itself. That would be insane. That would be a crazy way to wake up.
p.m. Japan time, with a thumbnail being
I cannot
"We need an
imagine how
explanation,
stressful that
please
was."
answer Vshojo. In it, she would do the unexpected and bring on the CEO of Vshojo Japan for a discussion, giving him the avatar of a rat, saying Vshojo Japanese CEO for now. Yura on YouTube translated the entire conversation. Because the CEO wasn't comfortable speaking in English, he spoke in Japanese. He would confirm to the world that the $500,000 that the Immune Deficiency Foundation was owed was truly not paid. This was the first time a Vshojo staff, especially someone as high up as him, confirmed this to us publicly. When questioned about financials further, he would explain that he had very limited access to company financials since Vshojo Japan was just a subsidiary. He could only see money coming in and out of Vshojo Japan, and he was taking a risk coming to the stream because he had multiple higher-ups above him. And the most important moment in this entire live stream would be this right here. No need to explain, just watch.
So did you just say that Vshojo JP itself was doing good?
そうですね。
Yeah?
In finances too?
It was doing it, huh?
そうですね。
You
Yeah.
haven't paid me.
っていうことになるですね。その
That is
本社
that is what has happened, yes. How stupid. How fucking stupid do you have to be to just admit that? I mean, you're being called out live on stream, but oh my god.
の中の帳簿上はそうなってたっていうことは聞いてます。
でもタレントに1円も払われてない状態っていうのを把握しておられたんでしょうか？
そうです。はい。
I know you haven't been paid for doing work is mind-boggling. And his excuses, well, there's money coming in and out. Brother, you know there's money coming in and going out, but your employees have not been paid. What the fuck is the excuse here? This motherfucker better be
そう資金
better be on his fucking hands and knees begging for forgiveness.
入ってくるお金と出ていくお金の数字のみを見たら、日本の支部っていうのはうまくやっていたってことで
That's
す。
funny because none of the money going out is going into your employees' pockets. I can see Homegirl's spirit. She's ready to fucking snap, and I do not blame. I cannot blame them. Holy shit. I would be pissed too. My food is here. BRB. Ow. I'm sorry. I cannot move fast on my ankle. My ankle not happy. I tried to do a quick little waddle to the door, and that made it pissed.
出ていこうか入ってきたおかなI quit Vshojo today.
Oh. He's like, yeah. Bro.
Vshojo やめますよ。
はい。
はい、31日予定でしたけど、今日やめます。
So she quit live in front of the Japanese CEO's face, in front of
Holy
tens
shit.
of thousands of people, revealing that she was planning on quitting on July 31st because in general she wasn't paid since last year, since September 2024. An amount of money that was in
A
the
year?
six figures. During this call, he also specified that his
Hol-
salary was slashed in half.
6 figures? Bro, I could last for like years on 6 figures.
And
Bro.
that there were talks about separating Japanese Vshojo and English Vshojo wallets since the Japanese side was doing so well. But again, since it was doing so well, how come Kei-san and other Japanese talents weren't paid for so long? This is why she quit. Now the CEO would specify that the staff was still being paid, just not the talent. And to clarify any confusion, Legal Mindset, who is a reliable lawyer, would say another note from Kei-san's stream regarding staff being paid first, they had to pay the staff due to clear labor law violations if they didn't pay full-time staff. They are banking on the ambiguity of Vshojo talent as independent contractors to shaft them out of payment. It would then go on to
That's
say
so
overall,
fucked up.
Kei-san's stream shows US Vshojo leadership aiming for bankruptcy as a solution to discharge unpaid payments to the talents as independent contractors. Now is the best time for VTubing industry to challenge this insanity and establish that VTubers are true employees. So now we just went from them stealing $500,000 meant for charity to not paying their talents to try to legally squirm away from paying their talents money that they're owed. As this entire chaos
Doesn't
was unfolding,
surprise me.
Michi would go live to talk about what was going on. She would briefly go over how we got here, how she started VTubing as a way to hang out with friends, and eventually she would end up at Nijisanji and it wouldn't really end well. After Nijisanji, she'd be at a point in her life where she had picked up bad habits again and had a lot of baggage. So she was very grateful to Vshojo for giving her a second chance, for saving her essentially, making her trust them fully. This is why she would sing their praises so much and so often. Something that she says she feels embarrassed by now that everything has been unfolding. Finally, she announces that she's officially quitting Vshojo and that they also owe her a significant amount of money. She then says that of course there are other things, but she can't discuss them right now due to legal reasons. Amelie would join Michi in announcing that she will be terminating her contract with Vshojo effective immediately and will be returning to being an independent VTuber and content
I wonder
creator.
like what the
Kuro would
total
also go
number.
live to talk about his experience.
I wonder what the total number of unpaid funds are between all of the girls, the money owed to them, and that charity money, like all put together. I'm curious how much that
He'd say
money
that the
is.
first year at Vshojo was amazing. The contract was amazing, and it was a complete difference to the first company he worked for, which was Nijisanji. He would then say that the second year got more weird, more disjointed, less collabs between the talents at Vshojo like the first year, and overall, the vision wasn't as clear as it used to be. To him, Vshojo began being a company with a lot of empty promises. But the reason why he and other talents didn't leave is because they would have many meetings with Gunrun and important staff, explaining their grievances and being told, being promised that things were going to improve.
I don't like the eyes
and they
on that
trusted
model.
them. Unlike other companies they worked for,
They wake
they
me
had
out.
the CEO listening to everything they were saying, telling them that don't worry, we'll take everything into account. But just like the other talents, this trust that Kuro gave Vshojo wouldn't be rewarded in the end, saying that he also hasn't been paid since September 2024, and that he had only received the funds for the merch that he sold during his debut in 2023 in June of 2025, and only because
Holy
his manager
shit.
pushed for it so much. Obviously, that is crazy.
Holy
He
shit.
would then tweet out the fact that he removed Vshojo from his name and would lose the Vshojo logo on Twitter, saying, "And there it goes, how do you do, fellow indie VTubers?" Hime Hajime would then join her fellow talents and say, "I can confirm I have also quit Vshojo. These past few years I got to meet and befriend some amazing people, but I can no longer be part of the company." Henya the Genius would then go live to talk about her perspective, and here's what she had to say. Just 5 minutes before the stream, she found out that her birthday merch was never shipped. Merch that her fans paid for. They never received it. Her manager and her attorney are now handling the situation, and she'll update her fans when she can. She's of course officially leaving Vshojo, and the situation has been very heartbreaking for her. And just like the other talents, the company owes her a significant amount of money that they've delayed for a very long time. One could guess that it was since she joined almost. Just like with Michi, Vshojo gave her hope again. She almost quit VTubing, but here she felt like she had a second chance. She trusted them deeply. But thankfully, even though she was backstabbed by this company she trusted, she will be continuing VTubing as an independent.
Yay, that's good.
But this wouldn't just be talents currently at the company, this would be also ex-talents that would finally be able to talk about their grievances with Vshojo. One of them being Silvervale. She went live to talk about it, and I mean, just listen to this clip, it'll tell you everything. This is her talking about what happened during the whole Hogwarts Legacy controversy, and how as she was being harassed, she got on a call with Gunrun. Watch.
I was put into a call with Gun, the CEO of the company, like someone that I admired and I looked up to and I wanted to please, someone that I thought was the coolest person ever. And he told me that I was a damage to the brand, that I was a disappointment. I was told that me being harassed was an inconvenience to the other talents and not to talk to them.
To the gallows with
Optics
this
were more
man.
important than their own talents will
Straight
be.
to the gallows.
And I was suspended from streaming. They said it wasn't a suspension because they weren't that kind of agency, but what else do you call being told not to stream?
Yeah, as she was dealing with the harassment campaign, instead of the company supporting her, making sure she was okay, the CEO got into
To
a
the
call with her
fucking
and called her
gallows.
a disappointment.
To the
Gunrun
gallows!
was essentially siding with the harassers and doxers. After that, of course, she wanted to leave. Vey wanted to leave too for her own reasons that she would reveal later. But they would only allow them to leave together at the same time to make it seem like it was a joint decision and not an individual one. They couldn't complain because it turned out that their contract had no exit clause, which is, I think, pretty much illegal. And Nyaners, who wanted to also leave, wasn't allowed to leave with them. She had to graduate separately. Now you think, why is it that Vshojo wanted Silvervale and Vey to graduate at the same time? Well, that's simple, because after they left, they would start talking behind their backs to other talents, as well as the brands, artists, and business partners that they had worked with. Vshojo management would make it their life's mission to slander both Silvervale and Vey to make it seem like they were problem childs. Like the reason why they left and the reason why they got into so much controversy was their problem, not Vshojo's. It was disgusting. But even after leaving, Silvervale wasn't done with the trauma of Vshojo. She said that the threat of Vshojo suing her haunted her for a very, very long time. Because at some point, before she even graduated, she had mentioned in her Discord that she was stressed and needed to cancel the stream. Her lawyer was immediately contacted by Vshojo after she had posted that message, and they threatened to sue her if she just hinted that she was leaving or was unhappy at all at the company. She constantly felt
Good
watched
God.
and felt like she had to be
Good
very careful
God.
of what she said at all times. This wasn't a company who put talent first or valued talent freedom. This was a dystopian, nightmarish agency. People felt so sorry for Silvervale because she's had to keep this to herself for years, not able to ever talk about it. She said this was the first time she felt like she could start to heal now that she was able to talk. But the bombshells here weren't over because she would then tweet.
Having to keep in like a secret like that, where you were screwed over so aggressively and you can't say anything because they legally have you binded to say it's fucking horrendous. And I don't even know if that NDA is truly legal, honestly.
This out, saying, "My heart goes out to all the communities affected by this recent news. I know that it's surprising and heart-wrenching for a lot of people. There's a lot I wish I could say, but I signed a pretty aggressive NDA. They made my mom sign one too. All I can say is that it's been bad for a long time, and I warned everyone as much as I could. It was so much worse than you could imagine. The VTubers make the agency, not the other way around. To take advantage of those who trusted you is vile. Never derive your value from an agency. Believe in yourself and your content because you're worth so much more than you can imagine." They made her mother sign an NDA. That's how badly they treated her and were
Jesus
also
fucking Christ.
scared of her. Legal Mindset came in to clarify, yeah, making your mom sign is not going to hold up. Truly showing us how ridiculous this all is. But if you thought that was bad, Nyanners would then go live to reveal to us even more very disturbing details. Vshojo wasn't good with payments as early as 2023, owing her almost 6 figures worth of payments. She would then reveal that part of the money she was owed was for a sponsor stream in which she literally got swatted.
Where did it go? Hookers and blow!
Someone doxed her and sent police at her house. She had guns
Oh my
pointed
God.
at her. But even though that happened, she would then continue streaming because she was doing a sponsor stream and didn't want to disappoint the agency. Guess what? Part of the money she's owed was that stream. She wasn't paid for the stream in which she got swatted and kept going when she could have just easily ended. After leaving Vshojo, within just a few months, she had made more money than she had ever made under the agency. The same thing applied to Silvervale. Since the first contracts had no exit clause, the only way Nyanners, Vey, and Silvervale were confident enough to leave was because Vshojo at the time had an expired business license. Before leaving, though, she was still in the process of renewing and brought in a lawyer to review the contract. As she was doing this, she was guilt-tripped by the staff. We can only assume this was the CEO, saying things like, "Wow, she's so heartless, she's talking to us through a lawyer," which is ridiculous, by the way. Having a lawyer review a contract should be normal. It is normal.
Getting fucking guilt-tripped by a goddamn company? What are they, ran by 14-year-olds? Jesus.
Lawyer would then audibly be horrified during the contract call, sighing and saying, "Some of this is ridiculous. Some of this isn't legal." We would then get further clarification on the graduations of 2023. Vey comes in the chat and specifies that part of the company's terms for her exit was announcing her and Silver's departures at the same time to avoid panic. Vey also didn't get paid for any sponsors from 2021 to 2023, and she needed to hire a lawyer to pester them 24/7 in order to get her money, which makes her believe that Vshojo had used other talents' money in order to pay her. In the end, Nyanners thought that she was genuinely going to take all of this to the grave, never being able to clear her name. But
So
when the
they were
Iron Mouse
taking
situation
money
had
to
unfolded,
pay
she finally
other
felt like
people's
she
money.
was safe
Oh my
enough
God.
to talk to everyone about
Oh my
this.
God.
After that stream, she would tweet out, "I'm so sorry, I'm still sick, so I gotta take today's stream off, but I wanted to express how thankful I am to everyone for all the support. Not just for me, but for everyone who's had to deal with this painful situation. It's heartbreaking they had to go through so much undue stress caused by the people they trusted in. I wish them all the best, and I know they'll go on to keep doing amazing things and have many
Can't
brighter
fucking trust
opportunities
no
awaiting
one.
them. It was scary, but I'm immensely grateful and relieved to have finally been able to speak out about a lot that has weighed on me for the past 2 years. It was an incredibly difficult time for me that left me feeling so isolated and mentally burnt out for a long while. I know many others have felt the same way, and my heart goes out to them. To be met with the overwhelming amount of understanding and support from everyone when I thought I'd never be able to talk about this or have any kind of closure has helped me so much. Thank you for hearing me out and being so chill. It means the world to me. It's been an awful time for a lot of people, to say the least, but I hope that on the bright side of things, all of this coming to light can create meaningful change going forward. Seeing the VTuber community come together like this to lift each other up has been so nice to see. Please send the former Vshojo talent and everyone affected by this all the love you can, and please donate to the Immune Deficiency Foundation. Thank you guys for everything, and let's look forward to way more fun times in the future. Nyanners and Silver.
Speaking of the Immune Deficiency Foundation, if you can donate, please do. I know there's actually, wait, I might still, I did a charity live stream like 2 weekends ago. And I had let me type it into all the chats if I can type. Oh my God, I can't type. Let's see if the bot still shows up. Oh, yeah, it does. Okay. You do it for the YouTube chat. Alright, let's see if the bot works. Did it just auto-mod my own chat? Why can't I see my own? There we go. Now I can see it. If you type Vshojo, fuck Vshojo, it pops a link to a Tiltify. I guess that's the one that I made, but it all goes to the same place. If you want to look for Iron Mouses, do that. It looks like Mujin's also doing his own fundraising to get directly to the Immune Deficiency Foundation. Just anywhere you can donate. This bitchin'.
Prevail were finally able
if
to
you
clear
can,
their
if you
names,
can't.
and Vey was able to chime in as well.
Totally
Many people
understandable.
felt very bad with how they perceived them and were there to show them support. But it wasn't just talents and ex-talents of Vshojo that had something to say. No, Vshojo didn't need to have someone be a talent in order to mistreat them. In the summer of 2024, Vshojo would open their applications again. And since Amelie needed a year and a half to join, it was safe to assume that this was going to be the same amount of time required for a new talent to join as well. What the hell was happening to them as this entire company was crumbling? Well, they would decide to also speak out. I know some people have noticed that I've been spotty with streams lately, and the reason is actually because I was supposed to join Vshojo this year. A lot has happened, and after over half a year after signing, I requested to have my contract voided. I won't go into detail, but it was an opportunity that I was very excited about, and I'm sad that I won't be able to bring you everything I had in mind. I'm sorry for all the delayed projects and ideas I excitedly talked to you guys about, but I'll be working on them by myself slowly. To the few people at Vshojo I was able to talk to, thank you for giving a chance to a bug like me. I hope everyone who hears about this news, even if you don't know me or watch me, can still send support to the Vshojo girls, both existing and my gen mates. I'm sorry things turned out this way. Thank you to my bug bros and friends for always supporting me and being there for me. You guys are the reason why I'm strong. Let's keep having fun, okay? She would, just like Haruka, link the Tiltify for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. And we'd also have yet another VTuber by the name of PayaPie tweet this out, saying, I've been searching for the right words. Here they are as carefully as I can say them. I was one of the girls who passed the Vshojo audition. After 4 years of blood, sweat, and slime, I really believed I'd made it. But all the late nights, overtime, sacrifice meant something more. I was excited to take a huge leap with the community I built as me, the weird little slime girl you know and hopefully love. But after learning what happened with Mousie's charity funds, I couldn't in good conscience move forward with my contract, and it all came crashing down. That was the final straw. We were promised support, stability, and financial compensation. I was so excited to join a company I believed in and that believed in me, but it became clear that many of these promises wouldn't be kept. A lot of us are now left shouldering the costs of decisions we didn't make. I turned down other opportunities because I believed in this one, and I don't regret having hope or for wishing on shooting stars. I was so ready, I still am. What hurts most though is losing the chance to debut alongside some of the most incredible, talented, kind, and hardworking girls I've ever met. I didn't just join for myself, I joined for the shared dream we all believed in and that I still believe in. I know some of you have sensed something has been off these past few months. I've been doing my best to smile through the storm, but the truth is it's been raining on me for a long time. You've all given me so much love and support, and I'm sorry I haven't been able to be at my best.
I feel so fucking sorry for any of the people who are just left waiting and probably received nothing in compensation for it. I mean, who knows if they like had jobs or other ways of getting money. Maybe they were streaming in the meantime, just keeping their mouth shut, but like, you're just left sitting on your ass waiting for this company that everyone has said such positive things about for years and is known as like the good VTuber company, only to be just like left on your ass and then eventually finding out that, oh, this company is actually just as scummy as the rest of them. That's horrible. I feel so bad for them.
I'm working through my feelings, sweeping up pieces of those broken dreams and figuring out how to chase new ones. Thank you for being patient with me. I will find my way again, but I just need a little time. And if you're still reading, please send your love to all the Vshojo talents, past, present, and future. Everyone is hurting in their own way, and kindness costs nothing. Until then, stay happy.
This girl must be part of... I saw the stream on YouTube, but I didn't watch it because I was busy at the time. There was the lost generation of Vshojo girls that was like the monster girl generation. I bet she's one of those.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Unfortunately though, the heartbreak wouldn't end here because there was yet another member by the name of Phoebe Chan who found themselves in the same boat. saying, I needed extra time to gather my thoughts before saying anything, but I was one of the undebuted Vshojo talents who passed the audition last year. Please be gentle towards those affected. Linking a YouTube video titled My Experience with Vshojo. She would also echo the same things as Pai, saying that she had worked so hard to get to this point, and it is just so heartbreaking to see it all fall apart within the span of a day. It's just a stab to the heart when you see people who are so hardworking and patient get so close to bearing the fruits of their labor
just got
and not
screwed.
able to even enjoy them. This would
They got
also
screwed
happen
by
to the
human
fifth and final
scumlords.
member that was meant to join Vshojo. As far as I'm aware, there were 5 of them. She went by the name Tori Oriane, but her story was a bit more unique than the others. You see, Vshojo had for some reason implored her to completely abandon her identity, to start from scratch with a new model and new name in Vshojo. That was kind of counterintuitive when it came to talent freedom, but she accepted. I mean, she wanted to be in this agency that signified success for her. She'd be strung along for months, being told that they were working on her debut, working on her model, working on her assets, when in reality they were doing none of that. She only found out recently that this wasn't happening as the company was imploding, and this was with the mindset that she was abandoning this account, so she didn't put as much effort into this, thinking that she was going to start anew in Vshojo. This company stole $500,000 in charity funds and, with no exaggeration, ruined the hopes and dreams of 5 people that had so much potential. That is criminal. But as you might have guessed, those 5 talents were not the only ones who got screwed over by Vshojo. You even had the very well-renowned VTuber Mint Fantôme post this, saying, my experience with Vshojo, sorry to add to the discourse, but I'd be really appreciative if you would listen. In it, she would say that her interactions with Vshojo started when she would make a podcast with Matara. Even though she wasn't a member, she did collaborate on merch, but didn't receive a single dollar from it. When she met up with Matara in Japan, she told her that she was feeling lonely, that she wanted to join a group or a company. So eventually, she came up with the idea to pitch an idol group to Vshojo, and Gunrun was supportive. And Vshojo would audition 2 other people. These would be completely separate from the 5 VTubers we just saw. The problem though is that the debut kept getting delayed. She tried to be as patient as possible in the beginning, but then it just became ridiculous. Another merch drop would happen, and again she would receive $0 from it. And that, technically speaking, throughout the whole thing, she was actually a Vshojo talent for over a year, even though no one really knew about it publicly. This was of course, again, tragic. And it would show us a trend with Vshojo. The fact that they wanted to do so much, but very often would bite way more than they could chew. The same thing would happen with Quinn, who is a VTuber that used to be at Nijisanji that also happens to stream with Facecam. Vshojo would tell him that they're interested, that they really would love to sign him on, but eventually would just ghost him. This company's higher-up management was ran by complete clowns who didn't really know how to run a business, and more revelations would come out. For example, Shoto, who is a very big VTuber, would say, fun fact, I was contacted for an opportunity to join Vshojo back in 2023, and I'm very glad it didn't go through. Please support Mouse.
I know Shy Lily talked about it because they were recruiting her at one point, and their contract was so aggressive. Like, they wanted like a 50-50 split. They wanted part of gamer subs, and she was like, absolutely fucking not. You keep your hands off of gamer subs.
And support the Immune Deficiency Foundation, y'all. To which Sayu, yet another very big VTuber, would say, you too? Damn, and retweet. Shy Lily, who needs no introduction, would say, good thing I trusted my gut feeling when Vshojo tried to recruit me. Their contract was riddled in red flags and basically legal robbery. This makes me sick to my stomach. Please, if you can, support Mouse and the Immune Deficiency Foundation. And even more tragically, Sayu, who used to be at Nijisanji and was treated horrendously by that company. Like, I'm talking, she was doxxed and harassed and everything, and Nijisanji did nothing, effectively what Gunrun had done to Silvervale, would get in contact with Vshojo as she was stepping out of Nijisanji. At that point, she had lost all hope, but Vshojo had given her renewed hope. She pitched an idea to Gunrun, saying, what if she left and several others left, and they would make a gen of ex-Nijis in Vshojo? He liked the idea, wanted to listen to more things she had to say. She felt like she was finally validated for the first time in her career. And Gunrun, the CEO of Vshojo, would tell her that he wanted to help and that this sounded like a plan, saying that the only thing he was waiting on was for her and Nijisanji to finalize their graduation. After she'd go through an absolute nightmare and finally get rid of that company, she would reach out to Gunrun again and would only receive a surface level response, effectively ghosting her. She had lost everything in Nijisanji, she had lost complete hope, Gunrun gave her some hope, and she had lost that too, all in the span of just a few months. It turned out that Vshojo wasn't this next level, new era VTuber agency, it was run by a manipulator who couldn't run a business better than a kid. And speaking of that manipulator and how he founded Vshojo, I wasn't fully honest with you in that regard. It didn't really pop out of nowhere in 2020. No, it was actually a work in progress, and it was only revealed in 2020. And according to Project Melody herself, it began with Gunrun DMing her on Twitter. She was exclusively an adult content creator who streamed on adult sites, but he wanted to know if she was interested in streaming non-adult content on Twitch. Watch her say this herself.
I debuted on a different site. That was the only thing I wanted to do. And then Gunrun reached out to me on Twitter the day that I was closing DMs. Like I was going to click delete, and then he was the top. And he said, hey, I love what you're doing. Anime is awesome, and, you know, hentai, and I like your vibe. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know. And he's like, have you been on Twitch? Would you consider that? And I'm like, hell no, I won't. And then...
So that's a pretty interesting piece of history. She was technically the first ever founding member of Vshojo. But here's two more interesting things. The first one being that she thought this was going to be a LootTuber agency, full of people that make adult content like her. And the second interesting fact is that initially she acted as the talent manager. You'll see this for yourself because she explains this too.
In the back of my mind, I thought it was going to be a YouTuber agency. But then I accidentally ran into Mouse, and I heard her talking about seeing someone on a train, and then she sang Ave Maria, and I said, her right there, she is the one. Yes.
Now, of course, she's half joking over here, but it's interesting to see how much of an influence she had on the early days of Vshojo, even before they came up with the name of the agency. And again, I'm not making this up or exaggerating, she said this herself on her stream. Take a look for yourself.
Originally, when we started VSJ, before we even went with the name, the concept kind of was thinking a talent agency, but for more people like me. Because we're like, clearly lewd tubing will eventually happen. We didn't have a word for it because it wasn't a thing. And yeah, exactly, that would be really neat, is a lewd tubing group. And I'm sure it will eventually happen. But oh damn, that would be
That's
cool.
wild.
Yes, but very quickly we realized, like, I mean, that kind of like isolates us, and there's a lot of cool people out there, just like people hidden amongst it, because there wasn't that many English-speaking ones. It was almost entirely Japan-based, and so lewd tubing was more obscure. It was a neater concept to build something that's more general. And
so she was the first founding member. She was also the talent manager who decided to pick Iron
That's
Mouse and the other founding talents. And
That's
the reason why I'm
crazy.
pointing all this out is because all roads lead back to the Nux controversy. Take a look at what he had to say once Nyanners talked about her swatting as Vshojo was imploding, well, right now. Watch.
VTuber Nyanners says that Vshojo didn't pay her for a sponsored stream when she got swatted. She left the agency in 2023 and claims Vshojo had failed to pay her for multiple deals over several years. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I actually knew about this. I actually knew about this years ago, because that stream that she got swatted, the person that swatted her was the person that tried to swat me, that I helped Vshojo actually get arrested. Okay? I don't think you are aware of this.
And they condemned him. They fucking condemned this man who got the person that swatted their fucking employee. Are you kidding me?
I don't think you...
Holy
again,
shit!
Personal Nux information. The reason why a lot of the Vshojo girls were so upset about my video calling attention to this swatter is because I think a lot of misinformation was fed to them by the Vshojo company, but also because that swatter actually swatted Nyanners. I never said this publicly because I felt like it wasn't actually appropriate. And, you know, it's not my information to deliver or release. I never do that. As you know, I don't actually release private information, generally speaking, unless I think it's actually important. But this is actually a thing. And Nyanners actually called me after the drama to basically tell me and express her headspace about the entire situation and why she was so, like, easy to be triggered by everything, because she was actually swatted, and it's fucking horrible. It really is. So she, whatever. I don't want to get into details. As you know, private information remains private. I don't release anything publicly. But that was what happened, it turned out. It was that same swatter that actually went after me. So yes, I do know about this, and I do know that she had to continue her stream after she was swatted because it was a sponsored stream. The update is that she didn't even get paid for that.
Jesus Christ.
Interesting. So Nyanders was doxxed and swatted by the same person trying to dox Nux and Saki Nightshade. That was never mentioned by Vshojo in their very lengthy explanation. They claimed that there were only 2 victims of that specific doxing method. But what I find really interesting is that Nux, even though he was literally being backstabbed out in public, still tried to protect Project Melody, who was in the group. In fact, she was the creator of that group. She was the one who invited Nux, Phoenix, and Gunrun. You can see this in the crown that's next to her name on the right. The only reason we found out she was there was because of Fruit, even though I don't even think that was her intention. So this, of course, raises even more questions. Nyanders was the victim here. How come she wasn't the one in this group instead of Project Melody? And why is it that Project Melody's here with the CEO and the head of the cybersecurity operations of Vshojo? Did Gunrun view her as a co-founder? And finally, seeing that she held some role of importance in Vshojo, was she aware of the financial constraints of the company in 2025? Those are fairly important questions to ask.
That's really fucking good questions.
But with all this new information at our disposal, it comes as no surprise that Project Melody was one of the final members of Vshojo to announce her resignation, saying this: "I waited to make a statement because I'm always anxious and struggle to find my words, but yes, I'm leaving Vshojo. I was an OG talent, put everything into this company, but I'm beyond devastated at what happened, and I'd never in a million years thought I'd be saying these words. Now, I'm not implying anything, and to do so would be dangerous, so take this with a grain of salt. But so far, on every tweet of every single Vshojo member leaving, there were other Vshojo members replying. Not a single one can be found in these 1,100 replies on this post." Project Melody would make yet another post saying that she's taking a 1 to 2 week break. Again, in the replies, not a single Vshojo member can be found. Now look, this could very well be a complete coincidence. It's not like they unfollowed her on Twitter. To say that Project Melody had a hand in embezzling the $500,000 that belonged to the charity would be absolutely ridiculous. But what we can—
No, but to be fair, it sounds like they helped start the company, and they probably had at least a general idea of what the fuck was going on, and didn't do anything about it.
can do right now is simply ask questions, especially in regards to the Nux controversy, which is still missing some pieces. We'll see if she'll have anything to add or clarify when she's back from her break. In the meantime, though, every single member of Nova would all leave together, putting an end to this joint venture between Vshojo and the Universal Music Group in Japan. But Gunrun was silent. The company's page was silent, and it would take yet another 24 hours on July 24th, 2025 to finally get an official statement from Vshojo. Gunrun would finally post his statement using the Vshojo official Twitter page, saying,
like
Vshojo has failed, and I've mismanaged the company into the situation you're all witnessing. So today I'm sharing the difficult news that Vshojo is shutting down, and I take full responsibility for the decisions that led us to this point. I've been doing everything I can to fundraise and right the ship these past few months, but despite my efforts, we are in a worse position and those I care about are not paying the price. Over the past few years, we raised around $11 million to pursue a bold, talent-first approach in VTubing, prioritizing creators and community over short-term profits to achieve long-term sustainability. Our funding went directly to our creators through generous splits, debut investments, and infrastructure.
First of all, that motorcycle is very fucking loud. Gonna make me lose my train of thought because there's something I want to say after he's done.
Concerts, events, and staffing, all designed to support them. We also wanted talent to own their IP, which we knew was a unique creator-first approach for an agency. However, despite all our efforts, the business failed to generate the revenue we needed to sustain that model, and eventually we ran out of money. Additionally, I acknowledge that some of the money spent by the company was raised in connection with talent activity, which I later learned was intended for a charitable initiative. At the time, we were working hard to raise additional investment capital to cover our costs, and I firmly believed, based on the information available to us, that we would be able to do so and cover all expenses. We were unsuccessful in our fundraising efforts. I made the decision to pursue funding, and I own its consequences. I am deeply sorry to all the talents, staff, friends, and community members who believed in our brand. We did not deserve this.
Okay, before he keeps going. Okay, this whole thing right here is a load of fucking bullshit. the very people you didn't pay are your source of income. If you are having trouble financing the company that is supposed to support them, you fucking talk to the people that bring your company money. You discuss with them and try to come up with a plan to figure it out. You don't just fucking steal the money that they earn behind their backs that was intended to go to charity or other things and tell them nothing and don't pay them and just make them go, what the hell's going on? I don't know what's going on. Why haven't I been paid? Like, this is such a major mismanagement of a company that, one, I don't understand how he got that original, like, $11 million to start the company. And two, like, who the fuck thought that this guy could actually run a company? Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my god. Also, I know, which I later learned was intended for charitable initiative, absolutely fucking false, okay? This guy was posting on fucking Iron Mouse's, like, oh my god, look at how much we've raised, and going, oh, wow, that's so cool. This guy. There is physical proof, which means you are making false claims, and that is not going to help your ass when you go to court.
Signed, Justin.
Sorry,
what a dog shit apology, right? I mean, look, I've been objective this
whole
video.
Shit.
Come on, allow me to be a bit biased here. This is fucking terrible.
No,
so
be
no wonder
biased.
he got immediately community noted, saying Justin claims to not know the purpose of these funds, but he personally congratulated Iron Mouse on the completion of her charity fundraising event and reposted Ludwig directly mentioning that half the funds would go to charity. You can see Gunrun congratulating Iron Mouse on her subathon, saying, you did it, Mouse. On July 25th, Legal Mindset would reply with, the feds will be looking at this post. And here you can see the Gunrun retweeting a tweet from Ludwig congratulating Iron Mouse on her crazy achievement. Iron Mouse would reply to this apology saying, you broke my heart, my spirit, and my trust. Kason would say, why didn't you let us know the moment you realized the situation? Why did I get this information 2 weeks ago, not from the company, but from my homegirls? Why did you lie to the Japanese branch a week ago that everything was good and taken care of? Henya would say, I had a wonderful time while I was in there, so because of that, it hurts my heart a lot. My community and my friends don't deserve this. I don't expect you to do anything at this point. Just please don't do this ever again to anyone. Giga would say, Vshojo didn't just fail. Many staff and leadership failed Vshojo. Instead of using talent money on operating costs, the company should have shut down or at least informed us, but you used us as cash cows to keep things afloat while keeping us in the dark. Amelie would say, this is exactly what Copium Merch did to me, and you promised it wouldn't happen to me again. I'm so beyond disappointed and frustrated, I don't even know what to feel anymore. Recounting an experience she had with a company that pretty much scammed her and her fans out of merch. Michi Mochievi would say, we trusted you and you knew how hard that was for some of us to do. Our communities, people who only ever do their best to support us and care for us, do not
Asmongold, so what about the $500K for charity money?
Deserve this either. Adding a little humorous twist and saying, this does not get 5 big booms from me, OG. Nyanners would say, so is the COO gonna say anything about his involvement, or is he busy Googling how do I renew my law license past the deadline? Pretty much revealing to us for the first time that the chief operating officer, the one who handled legalities within Vshojo, had an expired law license. Silverville would say, how did you not know?
These motorcycles do not respect my streaming. I don't know why it's so fucking loud in here. Like, good god.
How could you betray the people that trusted you the most and think everyone would believe this garbage? You ruined lives. I hope the money gets repaid, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. You're a disgrace and a disappointment. And you know what? You go, girl. She's just doing the same exact thing during the whole Hogwarts Legacy fiasco. But one of the most heartbreaking replies...
Are these motherfuckers doing it on purpose? It's so loud!
...would be from Zentreya, saying, I've been trying to figure out what to say. Why did you keep dodging my messages and concerns? When I wanted to do one-on-ones, you kept dodging or gave me a short corporate answer. Even when I was under immense pressure from the community for answers about the auditions and I pleaded for a statement by your PR team, you told me it wasn't needed. You made a tiny video instead, looking like you were hurt and upset, saying sorry, instead of meeting me one-on-one for my concerns, and I was left crying and frustrated. But like a fucking dog, I went back and happy to even get something from you because, oh man, boss actually answered me. You wanted a one-on-one finally when you knew everything was crashing around you. then debuting new talents and such even after the community kept asking about it and kept waving it off and letting me take the punches. I smiled. I fucking brushed it off and kept pushing the company because I was hopeful for new talent and bringing new people to help. Instead, I find you were hiring people without input and poaching without even the idea of truly helping them other than financial gain. We didn't even know who you were bringing in. You and the team told us to just take it. You and some people were really ready for me to be thrown under over and over. Even when Amelie joined, I begged you to put out a statement regarding auditions before she announced her debut stream. You gave us the middle finger. Me and Amelie had to put out a statement because your PR team was unfit for their job. I took it all. Why did we have to say anything at all? Why did I have to keep taking the fucking damage over and over? You were hurting me well before this. You know you have. I've been pushing a company so blindly who didn't even care for me, but I'm an idiot and I kept believing. I was so excited for this. I spent sleepless nights dealing with constant harassment. And you spent money which you didn't even have without even warning us on God knows what, and you knew, don't even lie.
Hookers and blow.
Knew that the money was for charity and was supposed to be placed to the side to be untouched. Where did $11 million go in less than 3 years even? What happened to all that money? I'm just really tired from all these years of working, trying to push for something that kept pushing me to the wolves. I was so stupid, but I was so excited. I really trusted you. We all did. Despite everything, I don't wish you any ill will. I just hope you find some way to make this right. Vshojo had gone from being the hope of the VTubing community to a leech that had sucked out the hope of everyone who had any contact.
Support indie VTubers! Don't trust corporations. Corporations bad. Indie VTubers trust.
With it, whether they were talents or not talents, whether they had auditioned or were in the process of joining, this was a tragedy on a cataclysmic scale. And no one was believing anything he said. No, there was no way you didn't know that this money was intended for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. Zero possibility. You literally brought Iron Mouse to an Immune Deficiency Foundation charity event in person. Vshojo even issued a press release stating they would donate half the profits from her subathon on September 2nd, 2024. You think this won't be used in court? You can't just feign ignorance. Legal Mindset would later chime in, saying the only reason the Vshojo CEO included the later learned language is to try to keep himself out of criminal hot water. But I mean, come on. Even a pet hamster would understand by now that there's no way he's dodging this. Soon after, Twitch would remove the legacy emote known as Gunrun, not wanting to associate with him in any way. But you want to know what's crazy? Fruit has been inactive from January 2025. She finally made a comeback on July 21st, 2025, and literally just a day after she had come back, she would find out about the whole Iron Mouse situation. She effectively came back to a raging fire. At this point, it was already implied, but she still felt the need to specify that she's left Vshojo, saying, as a day one talent, it's truly heartbreaking that it has come to this. I had the opportunity to
dude, taking a break for fucking months and then coming back and being like, hey, I'm back! And then the building catches on fire, fucking explodes. Oh my god! Oh, I'm so sorry, Fruit. That sucks.
So much in the last 4 to 5 years. I'm really anxious about becoming indie, but I'm going to continue doing what I set out to do and make fun things. The people, whether talent or staff, were the best part about the company. I had the pleasure of meeting so many inspiring individuals. I hope we can cheer them all on together moving forward. And with Fruit leaving, Vshojo had officially become a talent.
Fruit is really good at singing. There's a cover of a song that they do I really like to listen to. It's called The Summoning. I actually clicked on it because it's got a 3D model in it, and it is fucking gorgeous. And that's what made me click on it, and it's really, really, really good song.
Agency with absolutely zero talent. I think it's important to specify that even though these VTubers already had one hell of a community around them, having to wrestle with the idea that you're going indie, that you're losing all the resources that this agency once gave you, all in the span of 24 hours, isn't the easiest.
To be fair, it doesn't sound like they were giving you much. So, I feel like at this point you're not losing a lot.
This thing to process. But you know what isn't easy to process? At least for Vshojo? The fact that Vey didn't give a single shit that she was still under NDA. She saw the company crumbling, barely able to keep up with finances. She thought, they're not gonna sue me, so she revealed everything. And it was extremely disturbing, saying, and so our NDAs are now void. Why I left Vshojo. Back in 2023, Vshojo tried to bully me into one of the most predatory contracts that I have ever seen. When I tried to ask more about it, their COO got extremely hostile with me and refused to answer any of my questions, and so I had to hire a lawyer in order to get some clarification. During the talks, it became clear that Vshojo would rather let me go than to take less away from me. They were ultimately wanting me to give up more than half of all my sponsor revenue and over 60% of all my merch sales. All I asked from them in return is to not take a cut of the sponsors that I was getting through Mythic, as that cut was already being taken. They said no, they want it all. So just to clarify any confusion here, most of the Vshojo talents had a talent agency in parallel to Vshojo.
Okay, you know what? 1 second, give me 1 second. This just popped into my head. Okay, 1 second. Well... Trust me, it's for the bit, Nope, wait. Oh, wait.
Return what?
Okay, this is it.
And what? Gul'dan. Must we give in return? Everything.
This is Vshojo right here. They're like, what do we have to give here? And they're like, give me everything. Give me every last drop of that money. I need it all. Alright, back to the Mujin.
Vshojo, like Mythic Talent for example, they would be there for the sole purpose of getting them sponsors. This was a completely normal thing to do.
We own you now.
Wanted a cut of the
Dude, you don't even... I don't think you understand that cinematic. That green goop literally puts the orcs under the control of demons. So it literally makes them own him. Like, dude, you have no idea how accurate that sentence is. Oh my god. Perfect. Oh my gosh. Let me just go be a WoW nerd at a different time, though.
Sponsors from Mythic, even though they were doing nothing to get her those sponsors. They would then continue, and so I asked to leave after being treated like I was disposable in our talks. They basically made it seem like they were my employer and that they're the reason for my success, that I owe them and that I should be happy to give them my money. In order for me to leave, they demanded I sign an NDA that prevented me from speaking to any of the other talent about it. I could not say why I was leaving. I could not say what the terms that I was saying no to were. I even got in trouble for advising them to hire their own attorneys. They would watch my streams, read my Discord, and then threaten to sue me. If I said anything that hinted towards how I really felt about the company, I was threatened with a lawsuit.
Jesus.
Another one of their leave terms was that they will announce both me and Silver on the same day in order to minimize the damage to their company. Their COO had begun to push a narrative on 4chan, yes, I'm serious, LMFAO, and other social media that I'm leaving because I plan to join OTK and that both me and Silvervale are troublemakers. So they were letting us go. Later, I found out that Nyanners wanted to leave around the same time due to also being unhappy with the contract, but was told that she couldn't because it did not fit their narrative that they were pushing internally and externally. The amount of hate we've gotten over leaving, from fans calling us greedy bitches to people saying we're abandoning our friends and tossing aside the company because we're successful enough, was fucking painful. Not being able to say anything
Jesus
sucked.
Christ.
I only found out I didn't get paid for any of my sponsors after I had already signed the NDA. After 2 years, I have still not been paid back fully. To add insult to injury, they also demanded I had to pay them back $10,000 for some of the anniversary assets, which when they sent me back months later were half finished. Despite all of that, I've had immense faith that the company has gotten better over the past 2 years. I assumed they rewrote their contracts after losing 3 people due to them and seeing all that new talent join. Clearly, this was not the case. Now, for some fun facts. Their company lawyer has an expired law license. He literally does not practice law anymore, yet he was our point of contact for any legal help we needed. They actively pitted us against one another during my time there, and compared our success to others. They tried enforcing streaming schedules so that our viewer count would look better due to less overlap. They would always shit-talk other VTuber agencies. They literally would spend company money to get a tiny dig at them, especially Hololive. It literally lived rent-free in Gunrun's head. They were convinced Hololive was over when they sent Kason and Nazuna. Our previous talent manager got ghosted for 6 months by Gunrun, told not to do any work for us, and that got fired for not doing anything. During this fiasco, we weren't able to get any assistance. Mountain Dew got reprimanded for being creepy to us, lol. Got told not to message us privately, go figure. I have proof from other streamers attending Vshojo's IRL
Oh my
parties that
God.
Mountain Dew would actively shit-talk me after I left the company to paint me in the worst light imaginable. Don't know why you're acting innocent on Twitter pretending you weren't aware of anything. Can't wait to see all the shit that comes out about you because there's loads, but those aren't my stories to tell. Thanks for reading, and thanks to those who stuck around between then and now. Thank you for giving me, Silver, and Neon the benefit of the doubt when we needed it most. So,
You never know
yeah.
what some people are going through.
This was insane. Many of the top streamers
they
in the
can
space would
or
react to
shouldn't
this
talk
with
about.
complete and utter shock. Bro, I was caught completely off
Vshojo doesn't trust Big Do.
guard. Holy shit. I could have never in a million years expected that, and this caused Mountain Dew to be community noted on the post he had made tagging Gunrun, with it saying this user was also included in many of Vshojo's mismanagement issues and has been called out for harassing talents. Nyanders would further confirm what Vey had said, saying Mountain Dew had the audacity to talk shit about you to my face at a party the year that we all left, and painted you as some kind of conniving, greedy, mean girl who was in my ear and manipulated me into leaving Vshojo just because you wanted me to join OTK because her boyfriend Soda is part of that org or for some personal gain or some shit. He got uncomfortably close and up in my face and was like, come on, I know the real reason you left. I know it was because of Vey. She talked you into it, etc. and it was infuriating. I know he spread that same shit to other staff, talent, and other industry people. Seeing one of my closest friends get dragged through the mud like this for years was awful. You did absolutely nothing wrong and had so much shit flung at you just because they wanted to push a narrative to protect the company. For him to act like he's completely blameless is insulting. He is a creepy motherfucker, and there's a lot more obviously, but a lot of it is also not my story to tell. Absolutely wild. Now Dean, a lawyer that's actually certified, specialized in content creation, would tweet this out after Vey's tweet, saying Vshojo has not officially filed bankruptcy, they have not dissolved. Contracts are still in place, NDAs are still in place. Please review contracts before you say anything on the matter if you have signed anything at all with them. But then Vey, whether aware or unaware of that tweet, would still tweet this out saying they'll have to steal from another charity to...
See, the thing is that's scary. I think Legal Mindset talked about it is when they go to court, they could still sue you for breaking the NDA, and the money will come out of your pocket. I mean, I could be remembering wrong. Very strong possibility, but you do have to be in fear of that.
Sue me, lol. A VTuber by the name of Kayan, who's a corporate accountant IRL, would quote tweet Gunrun's botched apology saying, I'm a corporate accountant IRL. You do not misspend $11 million, and you do not mistake charitable/talent earned gains as company funds. This is a textbook embezzlement. He should be in cuffs. And speaking of those $11 million,
I hope he
this
is
was
in
seen as a
cuffs.
genius move back in 2022. But the industry insiders that were very doubtful that Vshojo was making money and that they could pay it back in 2023 were mostly thinking this way because they weren't working with a private investor, they were working with venture capital, a form of fundraising that had zero flexibility. They wanted their money back, period. And they sure as hell were the last people to understand what the hell VTubing even was to begin with. We would then get more insight into how much Vshojo was struggling from a Japanese commodities trader, saying, unfortunate situation, but just remember, Kat, who is a friend of his, was offered $2 million to buy the whole thing, but obviously the operation was so unprofitable, Kat said no. I don't know how it ended this badly, but going through the financials, to be honest, it just looks like a team that never ran a business before. Kat was always a supporter or donor of VTubers and was interested in investing in them. A friend of mine was the largest investor in Vshojo, RIP, $0, implying that he had lost all his money. Maybe the loan the company took legally required them to be paid back first before the 500k stream donation go through to Ironmouse, not sure. Still believe it's a terribly ran business rather than fraud, or at least I hope. So as early as June...
Okay, but still, that was money made by Ironmouse for charity. The money only went to Vshojo, from my understanding, because Ironmouse didn't want to be, like, dealing with all the financials. She let Vshojo handle it for her. So that money technically never was theirs. It did not belong to them whatsoever. You don't just have somebody, like, if you're like, hey, can you hold on to this $20 for me? Like, or, no, actually, no, it's more like, hey, can you pick up the $20 from my grandma and then give it to me when you get the chance? Thank you, appreciate it. And then you just pocket the fucking $20 and don't tell anybody. Like, Jesus. Fuck these people.
2025,
Fuck these people.
Vshojo was selling itself for $2 million to an investor. This was the amount that they owed to talents and loans. Bear in mind, this is a company that had taken an $11 million loan and had some of the best talent in the entire VTubing industry, hell, the entire entertainment industry. They were valuing themselves at $2 million. Incredible.
Hell, they were basically just acting like the middleman, like a bank. Hi, Necros. Yeah, they were acting like the middleman. So my prior thing, ignore that. It's like if your job paid you. Your money goes to your bank, and then from there you get your money, right? If you have like direct deposit. It would be like if the bank went, that's a fine paycheck right there. Why don't we just snatch it? And if the bank, and then the bank just takes it from you, and you don't know why, and you don't know where it went. You're just like, where's my fucking money?
This really shows that they really had no idea what they were doing with the business, and we'd only get more glimpses as to how badly they ran the company when even more people would speak out. One of them being Camilla, a well-renowned VTuber in the industry, saying, I want to start by saying that the severity of my experience isn't the same as what others went through with Gunrun. Just wanted to share this tidbit because it affected a lot of my friends, including me. In 2022, I applied for Vshojo. I applied under my past life, so her past VTuber identity. Vshojo at the time prefaced that they were looking specifically for smaller streamers. I thought I'd give it a chance because I was a very small one at the time. I auditioned. I passed. I received an email saying that I would be moving to the next stage, as well as some of my friends. I and others were so excited to have even passed the initial round. That alone was something to be proud of. We filled out the next part. This mainly contained more technical questions. What's your schedule like? Are you good with handling technical difficulties? What kind of streaming equipment do you own? Etc. Submitted that and, well, got another email back. I made it to round 3. I was so happy. I know I wasn't fully accepted yet, but it was still a nice feeling. So I waited. I waited a few days for the next step. A few days turned into weeks. A few weeks turned into a few months. Nothing. I would frantically check my email almost every single day waiting for something. Eventually, I let it go. They moved on without a word. I was sad, sure, but more confused by the sudden disappearance. A year later, I started growing as a streamer. I met so many other VTubers and learned a lot by being around them. One day, I was chatting with a bigger VTuber, and eventually, the topic of Vshojo came up. They told me they auditioned the same time I did. She made it to the final round, but they rejected her and the finalists last minute to hire someone they already knew. And these VTubers were given hush money not to tell anyone about it. The girls were devastated, just like the rest of us who got dropped without warning. So, yeah, thank you for wasting everyone's time, I guess. Oh, and one more thing before I forget.
Good God.
You have no idea how many times your talents called me in tears, suffering due to your neglect and the way you constantly mistreated them. They weren't getting paid, they weren't getting responses from you for over 6 months, and other heart-shattering moments I can't share yet. Is this the treatment you give to the—
I'll be honest. If I wasn't getting paid by the company that's supposed to help me, and being fucking ghosted by them, I would have fucking quit way sooner. I'll be honest, like, both good and bad on these girls for putting up with it for so long. Like, respect that you lasted that long, but I wouldn't last 6 months. You put me at 2 or 3 months, and then I'm like, hey, either figure this out or I'm done. I'm gone. I'm not gonna put up with this. I've been abused by a big company before as a worker, and it has put me to a point in my life where I won't put up with bullshit. I will not be just bullied, not paid, and ignored by the company. Like, I'll just leave. I don't care. It'll suck more for them than it will for me.
Those who contributed to your success? No one as sweet and hardworking as them should have been treated like that and stolen from. And with that being said, I dedicate this to you. It will be a song sang by Camilla titled Dear Gunrun, in which she would address him personally with the lyrics that she
Camilla
wrote. Mia,
did a
yet
song?
another VTuber that was screwed over by Vshojo, would reply to Camilla's post, saying, I only spent half a year getting my hopes up. I cannot even comprehend how the people must feel who got strung along for even longer, just for upper management to choose bigger creators, while the talents, like Zentreya, had to tank all the criticism because they believed their words and promises as well. And all of us smaller people applying trusting Zentreya while the talents had to tank all the hatred from people claiming nepotism. Just to then, in the end, find out that upper management did treat the talents like cash cows and did try to get more cash cows instead of keeping the promises they gave everyone else. They sold this dream to everyone and made all of those false promises to talents and fans alike just to crush all of it, while letting the talent tank it all and disappointing so many people on the road. But what about this whole hush money thing? What about the people who made it as finalists and were given money by Vshojo to never speak of it again? Well, one of those talents was Neurosoda, and she confirmed it live on her stream.
Neurosoda, not
Like,
Neurosoma.
at the time when I applied for auditions, how many years was that ago? That was like 3 years ago. I literally do not care anymore. But at that time, they tried to like give me the hush money, which I didn't take. And I spoke about the like what happened as carefully as I could, because I was like still scared to like, you know, have bad blood or anything, and then people still like hated on me. Like nobody believed me. Okay.
Jesus.
So you go through these auditions hoping that this will change your life. The company ends up being very unprofessional, backs down, wants to give you money to hush hush. You don't take it so that you can tell people about this, and when you do, they don't even believe you. I can't imagine the mental toll Neurosoda, as well as pretty much everyone else in this video, went through because of this company. I mean, it really is incredible just how many people this company had affected negatively. The list was so large, you couldn't even print it on a sheet of A4 paper. For example, this artist was in the works to bring Vshojo to WeebCon 2026, pitching it and having management approve. They would tell her, oh, we'd plan a meeting next week. Their schedule was very packed, but, you know, now she understands this is never going to happen. She was given no prior warning. And someone else had spent months and thousands of dollars developing a leather jacket concept for Kuro. Vshojo's management loved it, and the artist was under the impression that this was going to be a joint venture. But after all this work, Vshojo eventually just offered to buy out the whole thing. They didn't want to work with this artist, they just wanted the idea and the jacket. And you know what the worst part is? This artist, desperate not to let all their work go to waste, reluctantly agreed. And then got ghosted, showing us that this business was truly ran by children. Kuro would find this post and would say, wait, what? I don't know how to say this, but I've never been shown this by anyone, even though I had asked many times if it was possible to get a jacket made, but there was never any update to me, so I assumed it's impossible. There was truly no end to Vshojo's fuck-ups. Niji-sanji, move aside because there's a new person on the throne. But if you thought that was the end of these talents getting punched in the face, you'd be wrong. On July 31st, 2025...
Okay. I know he's probably gonna read it, but like... Mama should have raised a quitter because there's only so many punches I can take, man. Fucking mood. Fucking mood, man. I wish I didn't have a fucking stubborn personality to persevere. I wish my mom raised a fucking quitter. Well, I guess my mom didn't do much raising, but...
Amelie would tweet, Mama should have raised the quitter because there's only so many punches I can take, man. Kuro would tweet, oh man, I might have some bad news. Someone asked, is it about your new house? He said, no, it's about old merch. And finally, Giga would say, I am once again trying not to crash out, but brother. She would go live shortly after to explain that there's some merch that was sold to her audience that was still unfulfilled. It wasn't shipped yet, sitting in the warehouse.
said it in the best way.
Seeing that Vshojo is a complete mess right now, she doesn't know who to reach out to get a list of people who, you know, bought it. Their addresses, like where she can send them to. It's completely unclear. She's still trying to figure out the details, but it seems that unfortunately, the people who did buy the merch and didn't get their order fulfilled might just get scammed. But as far as I know, some of Giga's merch did ship. In Kuro's case, though, none of it shipped. In fact, it wasn't even sent to production. The pinned post in Kuro's community on Twitter right now is this, saying, merch update. Unfortunately, Kuro's birthday merch was never sent to production, so please file a dispute at your bank/PayPal and do a chargeback ASAP. If you need help, feel free to DM me. So during Kuro's birthday, with Vshojo, he was selling some special merch. Typically, the way it works is that when merch is being sold for something like this, there's a time limit. Once that time limit's over, the company knows exactly how many items to print or produce in order to send them to the person who bought them. In this case, though, they sold merch, but never produced it. Knowing that Vshojo is in deep financial trouble, it's safe to say people are not going to get refunded. So the only way to really get your money back is to charge back. I mean, this is a disaster at an apocalyptic level. It's not just the talents being affected by Vshojo's incompetence, it's their fans now.
Seriously, the only answer for where did the money go, like, the only thing I can think of is literally just hookers and blow. Like, how do you blow 11 million fucking dollars? Where did all the money go? Where did the $500,000 from Iron Mouse's charity go? Where is it?
So sad to see. But hey, you know what? Not all of it was negative, because the VTubing community was able to take this extremely negative situation and turn it into a very positive one. Iron Mouse was officially indie again, and her Tiltify charity fundraiser, in barely just over a day, it had reached over $1 million, with the Immune Deficiency Foundation themselves making a tweet saying, "I'm not crying, you're crying." The campaign at the end of July is currently sitting at over $1.3 million raised, and it was so impactful, not just to the VTubing community, but pretty much everyone who had heard about it, that the CEO
Hey, we did our own charity stream to try to raise funds for it, so...
of the Immune Deficiency Foundation had made a video thanking Iron Mouse and her community for everything.
Really?
I mean, this is just incredible, very wholesome. Everyone coming together was just an amazing
That's
thing to
so
see.
sweet!
Look, this Vshojo saga
Oh
is
my god!
probably the messiest, craziest thing I have ever covered on the stream. As the biggest
that
disaster
picture
that's
is
ever
so...
occurred in the VTubing space.
I need this as my fucking, like, my wallpaper for a while. Oh my god.
Ironically enough, the new era of VTubing wasn't actually created with Vshojo, it was created with the end of Vshojo. I personally completely agree with Sayu's tweet, in which he says, "I said it yesterday on stream, but what's happening in the VTubing space right now is reminding me of the Machinima MCN days, sounding like old man Sayu." I mean, I remember Machinima, but I'm not old, okay? They used to host some of my favorite shows that I watched growing up. But the way they were created was as an MCN, a multi-channel network, something that is completely extinct
That was the
today.
only
Back
way
then,
to get paid
YouTubers,
on YouTube
especially
back in
centered
the
around
day.
video games, believed that the only way to succeed or get to the next step of content creation was to sign on with a machinima. This would allow them to get control over your YouTube channel and essentially make decisions for you. The promise here was that you would be getting so many sponsors, money, cool opportunities, but the reality was that you would be severely limited as to what you can do, and machinima would practically become your boss. You would have no freedom. Your channel wouldn't even be owned by you anymore. Eventually, everyone left this company once they realized that they were practically scammers, and this led to the company completely shutting down. So maybe the new era of VTubing content creation lies in the independent creators themselves. Maybe
Support
VTubing,
indie.
just like video game content creation in the early 2000s, needed these agencies to lay a foundation, but now they're not needed anymore. Who knows? Time will tell. I do find it hilarious, though, that in a stream with Michi and Matara, they would find out through tarot cards that Vshojo was going to be doomed this year. This was back in, like, February, okay?
That's
This
funny.
year. And speaking of Vshojo, in Legal
Holy
Mindset's
shit.
opinion, this statement was so poorly written that it might as well be Gunrun admitting to a crime. This wasn't over, and the talents could most definitely sue. I don't know what'll happen,
my
but I would
God.
definitely not bet my money on Gunrun. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this ridiculously long video. I don't know how long it's
Oh
going to
my
be while
God, that's
recording this, but
insane.
I am not looking forward to editing at all. And also a special thanks to Rima Evenstar for very quickly compiling some of the lengthy statements from many of the VTubers affected by Vshojo. As of now, Vshojo's store is not available anymore, but it's important to note
Yeah,
that
they
it hasn't
can.
filed for
They
bankruptcy
can, that's
yet
why it's
and
funny.
hasn't closed its doors down either. As far as we know, it's still a company, one with no money, but still a company. If there's anything for you to understand from all this is to, well, always hire a lawyer to read out contracts. And if a company makes you feel guilty about it, then they're probably a massive red flag. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video whenever that is. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be uploaded. All I know is I need a goddamn vacation. I love you. Mwah.
But between the fucking horse game, pirate software, and now this video, this motherfucker needs a break. A company with no money and no real money makers. Oh my god. As always, if you aren't, remember you need to subscribe to Mujin. He makes very, very good videos, very interesting videos. I can't believe it's not Niji Faji. If a Mujin video needs historical context, you know this shit's beyond serious. Yeah, dude, Matt, this video started in like 2020, not 2020, like 2002 or something like that. And at one point it fucking switched to Harry Potter and I thought I had a stroke and like something happened. But goddamn, another banger by Mujin. Remember to stop by his channel and drop a sub and a like on the video. Turning a negative into a positive. This money goes directly to YouTube, which then sends it all to the Immune Deficiency Foundation. That way you can be sure that Gun Run won't touch any of it. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's awesome. I've already donated a fair amount to them, and I don't have a lot of exposable funds, so I wish I could donate, but I can't right now. If anyone can, they're fucked. I don't trust any of them. I don't trust a single VTuber agency except for maybe the Socks one. But that was made by a dude as a meme. But if you can donate, please do. If you can't, completely understandable. The money goes to a really good cause and a very, very expensive illness to keep up with. So, my heart goes out to anyone that has to deal with it. I'm so sorry about whatever you have to go through, because, I mean, just hearing about Iron Mouse's experience with what she has is so heartbreaking, and honestly, it is extremely inspiring to see her come so far and do the things that she has done. If you guys haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend checking out her new song called Music Box of Fate. It's actually it is an opera written by, like, it's an original opera. And it's really good. I did do a reaction to it during my charity live stream. I just need to clip it and edit it down into a video, and then I'll post it eventually. But, yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here. I need to go, relax some more. I think my heart rate's back down, but, I don't want to risk doing anything too stressful for too long. Streaming's not necessarily stressful, but, you know. But, thank you, everybody, so much for watching. If you like what you saw, remember to like, comment, and subscribe and all that jazz on YouTube. Or if you're over on Twitch and Kick, drop a follow. Everything really, really helps the channel. YouTube, Twitch, and Kick all really like them interactions. More so YouTube. But I think it does affect things on Twitch and Kick. But hope everybody has a great day. And I hope to see you guys in the next stream, or the next video, or the next short. Until then, bye!